Ha! Nye Wubian didn't expect Emo to be this easy to talk to. He actually told him to go out and kill people. Then, couldn't he have run away using that opportunity? If you want to run, go ahead. Emo's voice was cold. No, I definitely won't dare to run. Nye Wubian quickly retreated. He knew that this youth could do things faster. Nye Wubian thought that if he acted obediently, then perhaps this youth would let him go. He saw Nye Wubian go out to kill people and his legs were shaking more. You're very cocky, aren't you? How does it feel so good to be a dog? Tell me, how many people does Nye Wubian has left in Tandu? Emo thought that it would be too easy on He to just kill him. At this moment, He calmed down a little and quickly replied, Nye. Everyone is here because they need to go back at the end of the month. I don't know why. Since you don't know anything, then go die. Emo sent out a fireball, but this fireball burned from inside to outside. He was surrounded by the fireball but couldn't die instantly. He could only howl in pain, but no matter how much he screamed, he couldn't make any sound. In this short time, Nye Wubian had killed everyone and brought them all in. He saw He, who gradually lost all hope from the fireball, and felt as though he was being bitten on the back by a snake. This person could control fire to such a terrifying degree, burning He inside the fireball. Nye Wubian could no longer resist it and ran. He would rather commit suicide than to be slowly burnt to death like He. This young man wasn't a human but rather the devil. He himself had killed countless people but had never expected to see such a demon. But when he just reached the door, a gust of fire burned from his dantian. He felt his internal organs were going to be charred. Nye Wubian could no longer endure such torture and patted his hand with his other hand. Emo no longer looked at who didn't have much life left. He carried his sister and dragged Chi and walked out of the mansion. He smashed a few fireballs onto the mansion from outside. The fire grew big. Emo sighed. He had actually destroyed the mansion here twice. But he knew that people would come soon after the fire got bigger. He didn't want trouble, so he brought his sister and Chi and left. When it was near the city, he patted Chi awake. Before she could react, he brought Tang Beiwei and left. Brother, are we out already? When Tang Beiwei woke up, she found out that she was already in the city. She knew that Emo must have solved everything there and taken her back. Emo nodded. It's done. Do you still have anything left at the school? If you don't, then let's go immediately. I'll take you to car racing and after that we'll go Beijing. If you still have something, then we'll go pick it up. Tang Beiwei knew that Emo's done meant completely done, so she felt relieved. I still have some minor things left and I need to say goodbye to the people in my dorm. And I still have a schoolmate in the hospital. She was beaten up after she lent me the phone. I haven't been able to go visit her. Okay. Then we'll go to the hospital first and treat your friend. Tang Beiwei's friend was hurt due to her. Thus he had to help her friend. Tan Kong Hospital. Chong Yuanyuan looked at the ceiling. She didn't know what her future was. She just lent a phone to Beiwei and had her legs broken as well as 3 of her ribs. The hospital came to the conclusion that she might have to sit in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. She wasn't satisfied. She was only 20 or so, but her life was ruined like this. However, she didn't dare to call the police because she knew that if she did, she might get herself into a worse state. That powerful faction was not a simple one. Cici was forced to jump off by them. Although she regretted lending the phone a little, she didn't blame Tang Beiwei because she knew Tang Beiwei's situation might be worse than hers. Chong Yuanyuan's mom's eyes were red. Her father just said to call the police and was beaten up as well. Although it wasn't serious, Chong Yuanyuan's family knew that there was no way they could beat them. Yuanyuan, how are you? Tang Beiwei opened the door and saw Yuanyuan with numb eyes. She felt regretful. If it wasn't for her, Chong Yuanyuan wouldn't be in such state. Chong Yuanyuan became started. A few seconds later, she reacted, Beiwei, how did you come? Why didn't you run since you got out? Why are you still here? Who is he? Chong Yuanyuan spoke and immediately looked at Emo. She thought that Emo was there to monitor Tang Beiwei. Tang Beiwei's eyes went red. Yuanyuan, he's my brother? Emo, sorry. I brought this upon you. He's the brother you said who could save you? He really saved you. Chong Yuanyuan looked at Emo in shock. She was in the same dorm and she of course knew what was happening with Tang Beiwei. She also knew that Tang Beiwei had found her brother and that her brother would come to take her away. Emo walked over. Yuanyuan, hello? I'm Beiwei's brother. Sorry. Beiwei brought this on you. This girl's skin was very white. Although she was average-looking, her round face was quite likable. Yuanyuan's eyes grew faint and she immediately said, perhaps this is my fate. Beiwei is not to blame for this. Although he saw regret in her eyes, Emo was still very grateful to this girl. Perhaps before she lent the phone she knew what the consequence would be, but she still lent Tang Beiwei the phone. Yuanyuan, don't worry. My brother said he can cure your leg. Tang Beiwei walked in front of Chong Yuanyu and comforted her. Chong Yuanyu immediately froze, but she reacted quickly and grabbed Tang Beiwei's hand, then said shakily, Beiwei, are you being serious? My leg can still be treated. I'm serious. I can cure your leg and make it healthier than before. Emo interrupted. Although Chong Yuanyu received the report that her bones were pulverized, she didn't believe Beiwei would lie. She had been friends with Tang Beiwei for so long and trusted Tang Beiwei's character. Although it was impossible to be completely cured of her condition, the desire for health made her rather believe Tang Beiwei's brother for real. Yuanyuan, Dr. Lu has come. He specializes in... A distressed woman opened the door and said, but then she saw Emo and Tang Beiwei, resulting in her stopping halfway through her words. She looked at Emo in vigilance. Chong Yuanyu felt happier because Emo said he could cure her leg, so she quickly said, Mom, she's my schoolmate, Tang Beiwei, and that's her brother Emo. Her brother can help me treat my leg. When the distressed woman heard it was Tang Beiwei, her face immediately dropped. Her daughter had become like this due to Tang Beiwei, but she didn't say anything. That Dr. Lu looked at Emo. Insolence. This is the first time I've heard someone who can completely cure such a condition. Mate, did you just get your graduation certificate? Obviously, this Dr. Lu thought Emo was a noob. What do you mean? Just because you can't cure it, doesn't mean my brother can't. You underestimate people. Tang Beiwei was soft on the outside but tough on the inside. Plus, Emo was someone unshakable in her heart. How dare this doctor question her brother? Emo waved his hand and stopped Tang Beiwei, then looked at Dr. Lu. Just because you can't treat it doesn't mean other people can't. But I haven't gotten my graduation certificate yet. Dr. Lu's face immediately sank and looked at Emo coldly. Very well then, treat her. Sister Fu, it's not that I don't want to help, but there's a more high-level doctor here to treat your daughter. Goodbye. Then, Dr. Lu turned and left. Chong Yuanyuan's mother quickly followed suit. She spent a lot of money to get this specialist here but was sent away by this ignorant youth. After half a minute, Chong Yuanyuan's mother came back in by herself. She was very unhappy. Not only was her daughter harmed due to Tang Beiwei, but now, the specialist she invited was angered by Tang Beiwei's brother and left. It would be strange if she could be happy. Mom, Brother Yi can really cure me. I don't want fake legs. I trust Beiwei. If Chong Yuanyu really got a fake leg, then she would really be disabled. Chong Yuanyuan's mother sighed, but she couldn't do anything about it. Auntie, sorry, but please don't worry. I will cure her, Emo said. Although Chong Yuanyuan's mother was angry, he could understand her. Sigh. The mother didn't say anything. Emo walked to the bed and said to Chong Yuanyuan, Don't worry, I will treat you now. The few people looked at Emo bewilderedly. What treatment was Emo going to use when he had nothing in his hands? Emo smiled and took out a box of needles as though he was performing a magic trick. Then he told Tang Beiwei to help him pull open the blanket. Haha, you're really funny. You still smell of your mother's breast milk and you probably only read a few textbooks, but you say you can cure bone marrow necrosis and pulverized bones. Why are all people now so arrogant and boastful? Dr. Lu went back to his office and cursed. Obviously, he was angered by Emo. All the young people nowadays are like that. Old Lu, using my daughter's words, if you take them seriously, you lose, haha. Another middle-aged female doctor at the corner laughed. Dr. Liu patted his head. That's true, the insolent has no fear. Why am I angry with such a young person? I'm just making the patient suffer. Sir, you must not touch the patient. A nurse walked in and stopped Yemo casually pulled her to the side and the golden needles in his hand landed on Chong Yuanyuan's leg in a flurry of shadows. The nurse was stunned by Yemo's movements. There was a Chinese medicine doctor in their hospital too, and even their hospital executive was an old Chinese medicine doctor. His skills were very strong, and she had also seen the old doctor use acupuncture, but he was nowhere near as fast. After her shock, she began to suspect if this young man really had skills. But moments later, she reacted. Regardless if this person really had skills, it wasn't something she could decide. She had to report this to the hospital immediately. An outsider was practicing medicine in their hospital. This was no small thing. No one cared about the nurse who ran away, but Chong Yuanyuan's mother was shocked. Such speed, it couldn't be reached even if no needle was used. Chong Yuanyuan just felt her bones constantly being pierced by the needle, and the needle was pulled out really quickly. She couldn't even feel when it went in and when it came out. She just felt a warm power moving around her leg bones. She could even feel that power made her very comfortable. She even forgot to be embarrassed when Yemo placed his hand on her broken ribs near her chest. This was too unfathomable. The nurse just ran out of the door and saw a royally dressed middle-aged woman come down from upstairs. She rushed up and said, "Who executive? Someone is treating a patient in our hospital, and he isn't a doctor of our hospital." Who exec heard this and his face sunk. He immediately said, "Call security to stop him immediately. What is he doing now?" "He's using acupuncture to treat the patient in room 203 on her leg wound. However, his speed is absurdly fast that I can't even see it," the nurse quickly said. "Acupuncture? 203? The daughter of the woman who cried in my office last time." Who exec remembered. This woman couldn't take it that her daughter had to get fake legs and cried. "It's her," the nurse replied. "Oh wait, I'll go have a look first." "Oh, never mind, I'm busy." Who exec seemed to have remembered the middle-aged woman beside him. The woman seemed to be in thought, and when she heard the exec's words, she smiled and said, "This person is interesting. I actually want to go see." The Who exec wanted to see how this person was going to treat the patient with acupuncture, and now that the middle-aged woman asked, he immediately agreed. "Okay, in that case, let's go." Yemo knew that two people came into the room, but he didn't know that it was the hospital executive. Even if he did, he wouldn't say anything as long as the exec didn't stop his treatment. Hu Yang looked at Yemo's movements and was shocked. He started out from Chinese medicine and was very proficient in Chinese medicine. However, he had never seen someone who could use acupuncture like Yemo. His two hands were like a flurry of shadows. The needles in his hands went in and out of the skin. Even he couldn't see where exactly the needles went in, much less see which chakra point it was. The 108 golden needles with Yemo's spirit chi continuously recovered Chong Yuanyuan's bones as well as her ribs. As soon as he noticed it was out of place, he would use spirit sense to sense it and his chi to move it back to place and stabilize it. As Yemo continued his treatment, Chong Yuanyuan became more and more joyful. She could feel it the most. The numbness and pain gradually disappeared, and she could now feel her legs more and more. She even felt she could start walking now. Although Yemo was at stage 3 chi gathering, this exerted a large amount of chi, so he couldn't maintain this pace. Sweat kept emitting from his forehead. Tang Beiwei took out a handkerchief and carefully wiped Yemo's sweat for him. Hu Yang and the other middle-aged woman was in shock. They knew they had met a master today. This was a real master. Even Chong Yuanyuan's mother knew that Yemo had great capabilities. After an hour, Yemo gasped and gave a pill to Chong Yuanyuan. "It's done. Eat this." Chong Yuanyuan took the pill in joy and didn't even think about it before eating it. "Yuanyuan, how do you feel now?" Chong Yuanyuan's mother asked desperately. Chong Yuanyuan tried to move her leg and was able to raise it up. She immediately said in surprise and joy, "Mom, I feel that my leg is completely fine. I can even walk on the ground. And I also don't feel heavy on my chest anymore." Then, She realized Emo performed acupuncture on her chest and felt a little embarrassed. Emo smiled. You can't walk yet. You need to wait for a week before you can. After the nourishment of her bones with his qi, she would need to rest for 1 week, and by then, she would be fully recovered. Chong Yuanyuan's mother was so excited that she was about to bow her head on the ground to Emo. But Emo quickly pulled her up. Thank you. If my Yuanyuan really has to have a fake leg, I really wouldn't know what to do. Thank you, thank you. The doctors in this hospital are all useless. They always say fake legs. Chong Yuanyuan's mother didn't even notice Hu Yang behind her as she swore. Hu Yang didn't even care about the mother's words. He looked in shock as Emo packed away the golden needles. He looked at Chong Yuanyuan, who could raise her leg now, and sighed after a while. He came in front of Emo and bowed. God doctors, I've seen Yuanyuan's case and I know about it the most, but you actually managed to cure it in such a short time. I've broadened my view today. There really is one mountain that is taller than another. Emo studied Hu Yang before asking, Who are you? Hu Yang immediately took out a name card and handed it to Emo respectfully. I'm the executive of this hospital, Hu Yang. May I ask for your royal surname? At this moment, Hu Yang no longer dared to treat Emo as a noob. In his heart, Emo was a god. If he could keep a godly doctor like Emo here, perhaps Tankong Hospital would become a world-renowned hospital. Oh, I'm Emo. Emo took the name card and looked. He could tell what Hu Yang wanted by looking at his eyes, but that was impossible. As though seeing that Emo was not too enthusiastic about the hospital exec, the woman beside Hu Yang walked up carefully. Mr. Hello. I'm Pang Haixiang of the Hong Kong Da-Di Corporation. I'm flabbergasted by your medical skills today. May I have the honor of having dinner with you? The wealthy lady beside Hu Yang also had eyes filled with fervor. However, her eyes were more of desire rather than fervor. She took out a name card that was actually made out of pure gold. Emo smiled. Sorry, I don't have time. Then he turned to Chong Yuanyuan and said, Yuanyuan, if you have time, let's go eat together in a few days. Thank you for helping Bei Wei. Okay. Brother Emo, thank you. If it wasn't for you, I really wouldn't know what to do. Chong Yuanyuan's leg was cured and she returned to her happiness. Chong Yuanyuan's mother had a face full of gratitude. However, she just didn't know what to say to thank Emo. Emo just said he didn't have time for food, but then invited Chong Yuanyuan to food in front of their faces. This made Hu Yang and that wealthy lady quite awkward. However, that wealthy lady didn't mind at all and walked up with respect and ingenuity. Mr. Sorry. I know this is very rude of me, but my husband hasn't been able to get out of the bed due to his illness. He's about to. So, I came to Tankong Hospital to borrow a Chinese herb from Hu Exec. However, I didn't expect to meet you here. I know you are a master, so I wish to ask you to. Then, the wealthy lady's eyes turned red. It seemed she cared a lot about her husband. Emo frowned. He wasn't interested in treating illnesses. He only didn't want to see Chong Yuanyuan lose hope and thus helped her. He should have closed the door before. Seeing Emo not talk, the woman walked up carefully and said, As long as you cure my husband, I'm willing to pay any price. Emo sighed. He wasn't stone-hearted. Since the woman said this, if he rejected again, it would be too inhumane. Thinking about it, he said, Okay, this is the only exception. Get people to send your husband here. I will come treat him 2 nights later. The wealthy lady was immediately filled with joy. Thank you. Thank you so much, God Dr. Yi. I will go contact them immediately. Emo nodded, and just when he wanted to talk, a fit of sirens sounded. 5 police cars drove into the hospital and more than 10 policemen charged in and surrounded Emo with guns. Emo saw the policemen surround them and knew they came for him, but he didn't care. What are you guys doing? Hu Yang immediately went up and asked. The middle-aged policeman in front laughed and pushed Hu Yang aside. Hu Exec, I know you're a respected doctor in Tandu, but please don't obstruct our job. We suspect these 2 to be involved in an arson case. Please move aside. Officer Wu, we were under your protection when we came here, and we are very thankful to the Tandu police force for that, but this is too absurd saying that God Dr. Yi is an arsonist. He has such magical medical skills. Does he need to be an arsonist? Pang Haixiang immediately stood out. Regardless if Yemo was a suspect, she couldn't let Yemo get hurt. This concerned her husband's life. Officer Wu's face looked worse. He looked at Pang Haixiang and said, "Lady Pang, you're an important guest at Tandu, but please don't obstruct our job." Pang Haixiang's face turned grim, but she couldn't say anything else. Yemo didn't want to get things bigger in the hospital. Even if there was something, he didn't want so many people to see. This Officer Wu was obviously in the same alliance as Chen He. He wondered if this officer would still be so cocky if he knew that he had killed Chen He and his big boss. "In that case, I will go with you. Sister Pang, I will be here tomorrow night. Just send your husband here. Don't worry about me. I don't need you to do anything either. I will come on time." Yemo then sneered at the Officer Wu. "Your own evil deeds will lead to your death. Humph. Come back on time. Keep dreaming." Officer Wu sneered. Then he pulled Tang Beiwei into the police car. Officer Wu's face was absolutely grim. This guy was so cocky. He knew that Chen He had a boss behind him. Even Head Commissioner Liu didn't dare to do anything about the boss, but now, the mansion Chen He lived at was burnt. Even though Chen He was killed, he still had to forcefully capture the people. Otherwise, how was he going to explain to that big boss? Looking at the police car take Yemo away, Pang Haixiang had a face full of worry. Hu Yang comforted, "Don't worry. I know Vice Commissioner Lin of Tandu. I'll give him a call." The few police cars whirled past the road and came to the police department very quick. Officer Wu and another tow cops brought Yemo and Tang Beiwei in. Immediately, he picked up the phone on the table and called, saying the people had been brought here. "You're very cocky, but you won't be able to, now that you're in my hands." Officer Wu put down the phone and looked at Yemo contemptuously. He had that expression as though he could squish Yemo with a single finger. If Yemo dared to resist at all, he would immediately fire. However, Tang Beiwei looked at this man hatefully. She knew that this officer dealt with Shishi's police call. In the end, Shishi still wasn't able to escape her fate. It could be seen that this person was definitely affiliated with those trash. Yemo looked at the two police standing at the door with guns and said to Wu Zhengfei, "Can I take this as you threatening me? And you're threatening me with the identity of a cop." "Ha ha." Wu Zhengfei laughed. "Indeed. I'm threatening you as a cop? What can you do?" "Nothing. If I'm not concerned that this would be hard for Han Zixin, I would kill you immediately. Though I will still kill you later, but before I do, I need to wait for people to make a verbal verdict." Yemo had to kill Wu Zhengfei, but it would be too impulsive to kill a cop like this, especially since he had a little status. Although he was proud, he wasn't proud enough to face off against a country. Plus, he had some relatives here and didn't want to overdo things. He was decisive in killing, but it didn't mean he had no brain. Was he going to bring his relatives running around with him everywhere? He didn't believe the strongest people in the country were in flying snow. Han Zixin was an old fox. He wouldn't tell the trump card of the country to him. And Yemo wasn't sure if someone had used Otanhu to massacre his entire family 20 years ago. If even the Song family could find someone like Li Mingqiang, a black-level tertiary stage master, to cooperate with, Yemo wouldn't believe it at all if the country couldn't find an earth-level master to cooperate with. Perhaps things just weren't to that degree yet. Humph! A sneer sounded from outside the door and middle-aged man walked in. "You are cocky indeed. This is the first time I, Lu Fong, heard someone dare to say killing a cop in the police department." Yemo really didn't lie. He had the killing permit. If he was sure of Officer Wu's crimes, he really could kill him immediately. However, if he didn't deal with this properly, it could be used as an excuse for others in competition with Han Zixin. Old Han was not a bad person. He didn't want to give Old Han's political enemies any excuses. For him, it was the same whether he killed earlier or later. He didn't mind this time. Hurried footsteps sounded and another person rushed in from the door. It was a fat, middle-aged policeman. He saw Lu Fong and immediately said, "Commissioner Liu, Yemo is Hu XX's friend. How can he be the suspect at the mansion? Was something wrong?" "Vice Commissioner Lin, this isn't about whether there was a mistake or not. I just heard with my own ears that this Emo said he will kill Wu Jingfei. I won't doubt Wu Jingfei's words at all now. For a social scum that dares to even threaten the police, if we don't punish him legally, how are we to be responsible for the citizens of this city? Tell me? Vice Commissioner Lin. Emo sneered. He immediately knew that this Commissioner Liu and this Vice Commissioner Lin weren't on good terms. And this Vice Commissioner Lin probably came due to someone's request to help him. The fat man was choked for words. He subconsciously looked at Emo, meaning that if you can even say such words publicly, how am I supposed to help you? But at this time he had calmed down. Things wouldn't be so simple, he thought. Lu Fong wouldn't come here for someone trivial. He only charged in desperately due to old Hu's phone call. Now that he calmed down, he wanted to know why. Although he didn't get along with Lu Fong, he wouldn't make mistakes on such important issues. Ring ring. Lu Fong picked up the phone. Mayor Yu, yes, I know. I've captured the people. Okay. I will. Putting the phone down, Lu Fong looked at Fatty Lin and couldn't even be bothered to look at Emo. He just said to Fatty Lin, Vice Commissioner Lin, Mayor Yu just called saying that this incident is very malevolent. We must deal with it seriously and harshly. Emo and Tang Beiwei, being the main suspects of the crime, will be apprehended immediately. Do you have any other ideas, Vice Commissioner Lin? Fatty Lin heard Mayor Yu talk and knew that things weren't good. He seemed to have fallen into a trap and couldn't help blaming Hu Yang. He thought that it was just a small issue, but now even Mayor Yu was involved. Just when Fatty Lin didn't know what to say, Emo spoke. Vice Commissioner Lin, thank you for helping me speak up. I think you may have to remove the vice very soon. Lu Fong's face was green. Take the two down and investigate carefully. We must find a result. Emo didn't even wait for the vice commissioner to speak and turned to look at Lu Fong. If you can't investigate anything, are you going to apply torture in the interrogation? But that won't be necessary, as I will be interrogating personally now. Open your eyes, look at what this is. Commissioner Lin, prepare to record. You're mad. Chain him first. Lu Fong looked coldly at Emo and wanted to urge the two cops behind to apprehend him. But then, Emo took out a blue booklet and waved it in front of Lu Fong. You tell me if I have the right to? Flying Snowhead Instructor? Just reading out the 4 words and seeing the stamp made Lu Fong speechless. That stamp was real. Vice Commissioner Lin also quickly reached his head and looked. He also recognized the stamp, and immediately, there was liveliness in his eyes. He reacted quickly and said, Oh, so it's Instructor Yi coming here personally. Haha, I'm Lin-san. It's an honor to meet you, an honor. By then, he had already extended his hand. You're Emo? You're the Emo from Beijing. Lin-san suddenly remembered who Emo was and began to stutter. It was actually the Emo of the legends. Lu Fong also saw that identity booklet and his heart went cold. However, he didn't completely lose his mind. Even though Emo was an instructor and could kill, he couldn't be involved in the police department's crimes. Plus, this was personally addressed by the mayor. But when he heard the 2 words, Emo, and saw the name on the book, his head buzzed and could no longer suppress the worry in his heart. Perhaps a lot of citizens didn't know the big name of Emo. But how could he not know who Emo was? The One-Song family was afraid of, and the person who exterminated the O family all by himself. Any random person from the O family was a mayor. Lu Fong started to sweat behind his back and his head felt dizzy. He knew his life was over. Really over. Emo didn't lie at all that he could kill Wu Jingfei. He was telling the truth. He really could casually kill Wu Jingfei and didn't need to be held responsible at all. Lu Fong had a bit of regret, but there was no regret in life. Emo, I knew he was called Emo from the start. Why didn't I remember it? Other than Emo, who'd dare to mess with that Nye guy in Tandu? Emo looked at Lu Fong and sneered. Seriously, I didn't go mess with you, so why come fuck with me? You think that Nye guy can help you? He has already turned to dust. And don't bring out that mayor of yours. He will soon become like you, idiot. If regret and eyes could kill people, Lu Fong would have already killed Wu Jingfei countless times. This bastard, why did he have to mess with Emo? And Nye Wubian was actually killed. Someone with such a background was killed so easily by Emo. If Emo wanted to kill a mere police commissioner like him, it would just be all too easy. Lu Fang regretted more. If he knew that Nie Wubian had been killed already, he wouldn't even come out. Now that Nie Wubian was killed, why did he even bother getting revenge for a dead and useless person? Lu Fang regretted so much. He no longer dared to use Mayor Yu as his shield. It was a joke to use a mayor as his defense in front of Emo. Did he mention Han Zixin before? Before, Lu Fang didn't mind, but now, he remembered who Han Zixin was and his face went pale white. Instructor Yi, the sound recording device has been prepared. I will be transcribing personally. You may begin your interrogation. Lin San immediately understood that this was his opportunity after his initial shock. This opportunity was too rare. He could already imagine that as long as he utilized Emo's power, he could kick away Lu Fang. Emo meant this when he said Lu Fang could take away that vice. And this wasn't even the main thing. The main thing was, he could use Emo's power to bring down that mayor who supports Lu Fang while he can step up a level. Perhaps, his higher-up would take this chance to heavily damage their opponents. Thinking about this, Lu San's eyes were full of joy. Emo suddenly looked at Lin San. Although he didn't know politics, he could tell clearly that Lin San wanted to use him. Feeling Emo's eyes, Lin San shivered. It was as though everything he was thinking was easily discerned by this young man. I just want that after things have surfaced, do what should be done. If someone dares to use me as an excuse to do what they like, then don't blame me for the consequences. Emo looked at Lin San and plainly said, Wu Zhengfei already knew at this moment that Emo was no ordinary person. Although he didn't see that small blue booklet, he knew that there was a killing permit that was also a blue booklet. He thought about Emo saying that he was going to kill him and immediately started to sweat. He looked at Lu Fang, but Lu Fang couldn't even save himself. How could he save him? Plus, Lu Fang was full of anger towards Wu Zhengfei now. Emo didn't need to do anything to Wu Zhengfei, but that heavy pressure was already making him sweat. Wu Zhengfei didn't even dare to hide anything and revealed everything. He knew that he was a goner and he didn't even hide anything for Lu Fang. There were many things Lin San didn't know, but now hearing Wu Zhengfei say them all, he was shocked. A police officer was actually protecting a hoodlum who searched around for pretty girls everywhere and even forced a student to commit suicide. This wasn't it, he did it so inconspicuously. Was there no one who called the police? Lu Fang finally couldn't hold it in and he slumped down. If it was someone else, he would perhaps still resist a little, but he knew that if he resisted in front of Emo, he would be killed immediately and wouldn't even have a chance of recovering. He was in Beijing when Emo annihilated the O family. He knew the whole process very clearly. Wu Zhengfei seemed to feel relaxed a little after confessing and also slumped down. Chain them up. Lin San heard Wu Zhengfei's confession and looked at Lu Fang, who also slumped down and felt satisfied. He didn't hesitate to tell people to cuff Wu Zhengfei. Emo ignored Lin San's words and looked at Lu Fang. It's your turn. Don't think that you're Mr. Mayor can help you. Lu Fang wouldn't even suspect Emo's words. If it was someone else, he could not believe it, but it was Emo who said this. He had to believe it because he knew Emo had the ability. Lu Fang's confession involved a lot more power factors, but that was unrelated to Emo. He didn't care if Lin San could utilize this confession to the greatest extent. Take them away and lock them up. Then, Lin San started to make calls. Hold up. Emo stopped the two policemen who were going to take Wu Zhengfei away and casually took out the gun Han Zixin gave him and said, I said I will kill you. This is for Shishi. Lin San looked and was worried. He quickly said, Instructor Yi, don't you think we should lock them up first? It's not suitable to execute them now. They will be judged fairly. Bang. Before Lin San even finished, Emo had put a bullet through Wu Zhengfei's head. Looking at the body fall down, he looked plainly at Lin San. Commissioner Lin, I'm grateful for your help, but I already said that I will kill him. If there's anything wrong, you can report me. Then Emo scanned the two police who came in with Wu Zhengfei but who then cuffed him and said, I know your asses aren't clean. If you don't make it clean and I see you again, I will kill you as well. Spread my word out. Lin San cursed to himself. This Emo was just as Lu Fang said. too cocky, but he couldn't do anything about it at all. If Wu Zhengfei wasn't killed, he would have more cards, but now, he could only watch as Wu Zhengfei died. Lu Feng saw Yimo really kill Wu Zhengfei in front of him and was now even more worried. He knew that even if Yimo killed him, nothing would happen to Yimo. However, he finally felt relieved when he saw Yimo walk out with Tang Beiwei ignoring him. Although he provided a confession, it should still be enough to stay alive. He couldn't help but feel relieved that these things were all done by Wu Zhengfei and he was not directly related. But he didn't know that Yimo did something to his body. He only had half a year to live. Although Lin San and Lu Feng knew Yimo's identity and also knew he had the power to be cocky, the surrounding policemen were shocked. Even if Wu Zhengfei was a criminal, it was the first time they saw something like this. "Brother, you killed that Wu guy, would?" Tang Beiwei didn't really think that Yimo would dare to kill in the police department. Even though that policeman conducted heavy crimes, such a thing was too extreme. Yimo smiled and said, "If I didn't record a confession, I may be persecuted for killing that Wu guy, but it should be fine now. That Wu guy dared to attack you. If I don't kill him personally, my power will stop growing. Like I said before, no one can mess with my sister. No one. Brother." Tang Beiwei subconsciously held Yimo's hands closely. It was warm, but she didn't know what to say now. "Let's go to your school first." Yimo stopped a taxi. The police department wasn't too far from the Shi University, and the taxi arrived in a little more than 10 minutes. As soon as Yimo got off the car, he was stopped. "I finally found you. You saved me today, right? Thank you, you're really powerful. I'm He-Chi, a classmate of Beiwei. I want to invite you out to dinner. You won't reject me, will you? And I also told what happened to my dad." He-Chi had been waiting at the door for a long time. As soon as Yimo came, she went up. Hearing He-Chi's words, Yimo immediately knew that she probably didn't know he burned down that mansion. However, he didn't have the slightest interest in eating with a woman like He-Chi. He immediately refused. "No need. I still have some business with Beiwei." "Is Tang Beiwei your girlfriend? She's really pretty, the prettiest girl in our school. You're really lucky, but don't worry. No matter how strong that Qian he is, he won't dare to do anything after I tell my dad." He-Chi was obviously interested in how Yimo brought her out from Qian. But she just couldn't ask right at the front gate of the university. Yimo didn't say anything. He didn't believe it at all that He-Chi's dad could suppress Qian He. Nye Wubian's power wasn't something that a government official of a city could manage. "It's you again, you dare to touch Qian He's woman. You really have balls." A bleak voice sounded. Yimo immediately knew that Zhang He had come. The two He of Tandu was both annoying. He-Chi immediately glared and said, "Zhang He, move aside. You have no business here. There will be one less He in Tandu. Qian He dared to capture me. I've already told my dad. Qian He will be gone soon." "You could escape after Qian He captured you?" Zhang He immediately said in surprise. But afterward, he immediately realized his words weren't appropriate. Thus, he stopped the topic. He wouldn't believe it at all that He-Chi's dad could do anything to Qian He. Yimo's eyes scanned coldly at Zhang He. This bastard might also be related to Nye Wubian. It seemed he needed to find an opportunity to get rid of him. "Do you believe that I will beat you up immediately, but the police would still come and take you away?" As though a little threatened by He-Chi, Zhang He stared coldly at Yimo and said. He was extremely annoyed at Yimo. He didn't know Yimo and Tang Beiwei got together, but Qian He was still not making an appearance. If it wasn't for Qian He, Tang Beiwei would have long been his. Yimo walked up and raised his hand, slapping twice on Zhang He's face. He slapped Zhang He so hard that he spun a few circles before falling to the ground, spitting out blood and a few teeth. "Now you may call the police." Then Yimo took out a handkerchief from somewhere and wiped his hand before throwing it to the ground. Rumble. As soon as Yimo threw the handkerchief on the ground, a crystal blue sports car drove here, spinning a few circles before stopping in front of Yimo, and then Zhang He looked at Yimo's action and the hanker he threw on the ground. How could he not know that Yimo did this on purpose? He wiped off the blood from his mouth and his face was green in anger. He knew that although he knew a few moves, he was far from being a match for Yimo. He didn't even think and took out the phone to call the police. Brother Yi, it's such a coincidence. I didn't think I would see you as soon as I came. My luck is really good this time. Xiao Gang jumped off from the sports car shaking Yimo's hand. Yimo had a great impression of this young Master Xiao. He didn't play tricks and he wasn't arrogant. This was a very rare personality of a young master. Judging by his mannerisms, this young Master Xiao didn't have such a simple background. You're being too polite, young Master Xiao. This is what I promised and I took your money. Since I have time, of course I will do my best. Yimo smiled. Xiao Gang immediately said, "You're being too polite talking like this. That money isn't even much to Brother Yi. If I didn't happen to be at the right place and the right time, I really wouldn't have such fortune. The first time I saw Brother Yi, I knew you weren't a simple person. Hee, my eyes have always been right. This time, I'm betting everything on you." Before Yimo could talk, Zhang He had crawled up from the ground and looked at Xiao Gang in shock. "Xiao, young Master Xiao, this really is coincidental." Although he was talking like that, Zhang He was having a tsunami in his heart. He had already looked at Yimo as though he was a dead person and wanted to think of every possible way to harm him. But he didn't expect Xiao Gang to know Yimo and treat him so well. What was happening? Xiao Gang only saw Zhang He crawl up now and pointed at Zhang He in astonishment, exaggeratingly saying, "Big young Master Zhang, why are you rolling on the ground? People say I fuck around, but you fuck around way more than me. You even like to play this." Yimo smiled. He didn't believe that Xiao Gang couldn't tell he beat up Zhang He. Xiao Gang must be saying this intentionally. Zhang He laughed awkwardly. "I'm not that bored, young Master Xiao." Then he looked coldly at Yimo. No matter who Yimo was, even if he couldn't mess with Xiao Gang, he wouldn't let Yimo go. "Young Master Zhang He, don't try anything with Brother Yi. If you dare to, don't blame me then." Xiao Gang also saw the hatred in the way Zhang He looked at Yimo. "Young Master Xiao, this has nothing to do with you. If you must intervene, then I can only call for my cousin." Zhang He knew he was no match for Xiao Gang, as he was only a member of a branch family of the Zhang family. Although he had some power in Tandu in Huzhong province, he had no power at all. However, his cousin Zhang Dian was the direct descendant of the Zhang family and was the successor of the fourth generation. His status was the same as Xiao Gang in the Qiao family. Hearing Zhang He's words, Xiao Gang's face turned askew, but he still sneered. "Yimo's a valued guest of our Qiao family and also my friend. If you dare to do anything to Brother Yi, then don't blame me. Even if your family leader comes, there's nothing to reason about." Valued guest? Zhang He began to contemplate and looked carefully at Yimo suddenly. He thought, with the Qiao family being on par with the Zhang family, why would they let such a young guy like Yimo be a valued guest? This was strange. Zhang He suddenly realized something that caused him to laugh. "So your Qiao family wants him to represent your family in the race. Ahaha, I finally understand." Xiao Gang's face changed. He didn't expect Zhang He to be this smart. He just said one sentence, yet Zhang He had already guessed his motives. Seemed this guy wasn't just an idiot, but so what if he knew? Thinking about this, Xiao Gang sneered then said, "Indeed, I want to ask for Yimo to help out with the race. What can you do?" "Nothing, but I will also be going to the race, so don't let me meet him." Zhang He sneered and wiped off the blood from his mouth. Yimo, a minor character, dared to hit him. He didn't know why that Chen He bastard wouldn't look for Yimo for trouble, but even if Chen He didn't do so, he would make Yimo regret at the race. A police siren sounded and a police car drove over quickly. Two policemen got off the car and they saw Zhang He, who still had blood on his mouth, and became frightened out of their wits. Which bastard actually had the gall to attack Zhang He? "Young Master Zhang, who did this?" The tall policeman immediately knew that if he didn't handle this matter properly, his career was over. "Who else could it be? It's him. I was obeying the law, but he hit me. See it for yourself." Zhang He sneered. "Even though I can't do anything to you, Xiao Gang, I can still get Yimo into the detention center for a few days just to piss him off." Xiao Gang immediately realized Zhang He's plan. Although he could save Yimo, if Yimo went in, he would lose this round. This would cause his reputation to be besmirched. He was a direct descendant of his family, yet he couldn't even beat a branch young master who fucks around all day. Xiao Gang was similarly someone who cared about his image. Plus, these two policemen definitely didn't know him and perhaps wouldn't even bother with him. After making a call, Yemo would have been taken away already and might even be taught a lesson. Young Master Zhang, don't worry. This is a legal society. We won't let such mafia-like behavior go. That tall police finished speaking and just walked towards Yemo. He even took out his handcuffs. He obviously wasn't going to let Yemo argue at all. Xiao Gang was worried about him, so he took out his phone while he tried to stop this policeman. Yemo, however, stopped Xiao Gang from making a call. No need to worry. They won't dare to take me. That tall policeman walked up in front of Yemo. But before he could even raise the handcuffs, he was kicked right in the chest by Yemo and fell back more than 10 steps. He then crashed onto Zhang He and the two fell to the ground. You dare to attack the police? Yemo didn't use much power on this kick. That tall police just felt his chest was heavy but soon crawled up. He took out his handcuffs again while putting his other hand on his gun. Zhang He and Xiao Gang were shocked. Even He Qi on the side couldn't react. It was already absurd that Yemo knew Xiao Gang, but he dared to attack the police in broad daylight. Even a young master like Zhang He wouldn't dare to attack the police openly. Even if he was to teach the police a lesson, he had to find a place with nobody. Attacking the police? You think too highly of yourself. Have you the right to be a police? When you walked over, did you even ask me anything? You just heard the words of one party yet you want to cuff me away. That kick was done lightly. If you don't pack away your gun, then don't blame me. Yemo looked coldly at the police then said. Just when the other policeman put his hand on the gun, he recognized it was Yemo and then began to release cold sweat all around his body. He quickly put his hand down and was prepared to alert his colleague. But that tall police had also stood down. He had also become quite frightened. He also recognized it was Yemo, the person who killed Wu Zhengfei at the police department and walked out unscathed. If he pissed Yemo off, then the consequence would really be unpredictable. The tall policeman cursed at himself silently for not realizing the person's identity beforehand. Chen He and Wu Zhengfei had already been killed. Now, this he had also messed with Yemo. If he didn't retreat now, then he would really be asking to die. Thinking about this tall policeman quickly walked up and said, Sorry, I just heard one side of the story and caused an error in my judgment. After speaking halfway, the tall policeman looked at Zhang He. He couldn't mess with him, too. These facts turned into his misfortune. But if he really had to offend one side, he would rather offend Zhang He. At most, he would lose his job or have some physical pain, but if he offended Yemo, things wouldn't be so simple. Yemo saw that situation was difficult for the two policemen, and he knew that these two weren't completely to be blamed. With Zhang He's authority, how would a policeman think of fighting against him? He waved his hand and said, You two should go. You have dealt with the things here. Yes. The two police heard Yemo's words and felt it was like heavenly music. They quickly got on the car and disappeared. Zhang He wasn't able to react for a long time. What society was this? Someone dared to be cockier than him at Tandu beating the police, but the police didn't even dare to talk back. Were his words so useless now? You're quite amazing, Brother Yi. Even I don't dare to do that. I knew it, Brother Yi is no ordinary person. Let's go eat. It's on me today. Xiao Gang was quite satisfied seeing Zhang He suffer, but at the same time, he was also shocked. This Yemo definitely had a great identity, not just normal great. Yemo patted Xiao Gang's shoulder. Okay. Let's go have a meal. I will also go, young Master Xiao. You will welcome me, won't you? He Qi finally found the right timing to butt in. Xiao Gang seemed to just notice He Qi and quickly smiled. Of course not, I didn't think Mrs. He was also here. It's my honor, haha. Zhang He saw them leave and felt as though he had eaten a fly. He immediately took out his phone and called, Dad. It's me, HM. I just saw Xiao Gang come to Tandu. Right, he found a racer, but I don't know how good he is. This racer is called Yemo. He's very cocky. He dared to slap me and it was very hard. He even smacked down a few of my teeth. What? He dares to be so arrogant. Even Xiao Gang can't be so arrogant, daring to smack you near the gates of the university. Even if that old man Xiao comes, I won't let go of this arrogant brat. The voice coming from the phone was very furious. Zhang Quanxian was now completely infuriated. No matter how much composure he had, a mere racer dared to slap his son and break his teeth. If word got out, he would be shamed. Zhang He's mouth formed a cold sneer. Dad, I have a way to make him die 3 days later without a burial ground. Emo's spirit sense scanned and he saw an Audi parked not far away. This car seemed to have followed Xiao Gang here. A bulky man got off the car who seemed to be quite strong, but in Emo's eyes, he wasn't even a yellow-level warrior. As though he could notice Emo's glances, Xiao Gang laughed at himself. The one following is my bodyguard. Although I don't like it, my dad forced this, hehe. He walked beside Tang Beiwei and asked quietly, Is that Emo your boyfriend? How did he let us go today? Tang Beiwei, like Emo, didn't really like this He. Although she was good-looking, she was too arrogant and selfish. But now that she came to ask her, Tang Beiwei couldn't pretend she didn't hear it. She said, I don't know. When I woke up, we were already out. Is that so? He murmured to herself and then asked, How come I've never heard that you have a boyfriend? He seems quite strong. How did you know him? Tang Beiwei started to dislike He more and said casually, That's my business. As though seeing Tang Beiwei's distaste, He couldn't do anything even though she herself was annoyed. If it was before, even though Tang Beiwei was prettier than her, she couldn't be bothered talking to Tang Beiwei. But now, she had become more and more interested in Emo. She really wanted to know how Emo brought her out today. And how did he know Xiao Gang? Xiao Gang even seemed very polite to him. That wasn't it, but he dared to hit the police and was fine afterward. Just who was this Emo? Xiao Gang's father, Xiao Shenghu, was the vice-governor of Huzhong province and the Qiao family was very powerful. He saw that Tang Beiwei didn't really want to talk to her, so she could only move to Emo's side. Just when she wanted to squish in between Xiao Gang and Emo, then ask the latter. A dark ray shot towards Xiao Gang's forehead like lightning. At such speed, both the bodyguard and Xiao Gang weren't able to react, and when Xiao Gang saw it, his heart sunk. He knew he didn't have time to react. Emo immediately knew someone was trying to assassinate Xiao Gang. Although he didn't know why someone would assassinate a young master like this. Since he knew Xiao Gang and felt that he was quite nice, he had a reason to help. Plus, him giving a hand was a very casual matter. He didn't need much effort. Just when that dark ray was about to hit Xiao Gang's face, Emo reached out and grabbed it. His spirit sense scanned and found out it was a thin dart. A dart shot out at such speed definitely wasn't by hand. It must be shot from some crossbow. Emo's spirit sense immediately scanned some corner tens of meters away and saw a man holding a small crossbow. He didn't even think too much as threw this dart back. The dart seemed to have eyes as it shot into the forehead of the man holding the miniature crossbow. The man didn't even moan before falling dead. Ah! At this moment, Xiao Gang reacted. He had just experienced an assassination attempt. Similarly, his bodyguard also reacted and charged over. Brother Yi, thanks. I owe you my life. Xiao Gang felt his forehead in fright. If it wasn't for Emo just then, he would have died already. Then he also realized that Emo was not only unordinary but also much stronger than he had expected. That was too powerful just then. The speed of the dart was not much slower than a bullet, and yet Emo caught it with his bare hands and even threw it back. Threw it back? Thinking about this, just when Xiao Gang wanted to say something, Emo said, I've already killed that person who tried to assassinate you. He's behind the rubbish can on the left. Xiao Gang immediately told the bodyguard, Bring that person here immediately. Then he picked up his phone and called. His eyes were a bit worried. It was He, who had seen Emo's movements the clearest. She was behind Emo and thus saw clearly everything. Those actions were a flurry of shadows. It was too fast that she still wasn't even able to react until now. He was no ordinary person indeed. He was shocked more. She even suspected that Yi Mo beat Chen He down before taking her out. With such thing occurring, there was no mood for food. Just when Xiao Gang finished the call, his bodyguard had brought the dead man here. Luckily, the assassin chose a far-off place and no one noticed. Xiao Gang picked up the miniature crossbow by the assassin's wrist. His face changed immediately and became dazed for a whole few seconds before turning around to Yi Mo saying worriedly, "Sorry, Brother Yi. I've caused you trouble. What happened?" Yi Mo saw that Xiao Gang's face was awful and completely anxious. Xiao Gang sighed and said, "It's actually the Earth Fiend. I've heard my grandpa say Earth Fiend was originally called Earth Kill. It's an international hitman organization and their prices are very high. Someone actually hired Earth Fiend to kill me. It must be because..." Speaking about this, Xiao Gang stopped and looked at He. "Mrs. He, how about I invite you next time? I really can't today." Although she wasn't satisfied, He knew that if she forced her to stay here, it would cause annoyance. Looking at Qi leave, Xiao Gang calmed himself before saying, "I think it's probably because of the blood coral. This race is just a cover-up. The real reason is due to the blood coral. It wasn't just our family who discovered it, but also the Zhang family and the Yun family, as well as the River South Cha family. For families altogether." When Xiao Gang spoke of blood coral, Yi Mo's heartbeat increased its pace. He remembered that there was a spirit grass in the cultivation realm also called blood coral. But soon he shook his head. Just because the names were the same, it didn't mean it was the same thing. If it really was blood coral, then he could reach the middle stage of Qi gathering, stage 4. Xiao Gang didn't notice Yi Mo's expression and continued, "There's only one, but there are 4 families. We have agreed to decide the owner of the blood coral through an auto race. Each family will have 2 racers. The first place gets 8 points, the last place gets 1 point. The score will be the total of the points. Whichever family has the highest point at the end gets the blood coral, and one of the racers must be from the family. Because my racing skills are the best, I must participate the race. The other person I invited is you. These people want to kill me, so I can't go in the race." Yi Mo frowned and said, "Since your racing skills are the best, why did the other 3 families still choose auto racing?" Xiao Gang smiled bitterly then said, "Because the blood coral was discovered by us young masters when we got out to race. So, our family brought out this idea of racing and the other few families can't rebuke it. What I'm worried isn't this. I'm afraid that it won't end after you killed the Earth Fiend hitman." Yi Mo smiled, not talking. He wouldn't be afraid because of some hitman organization. Seeing Yi Mo's look, Xiao Gang could only say again, "Earth Fiend has been established for more than a century. Their hitmen are all over the world. No one knows what they look like because those who do are all dead. It's said that from the founding of this organization till now, they have only failed 3 times. Those who killed their hitmen would be hunted by them. There are no exceptions. Even our family don't dare to touch this hitman organization, much less the individual members. So, I'm worried that they will hunt you like crazy after you killed their man." Yi Mo sneered. "So that means if they want to kill someone, you can only reach out your neck and let them kill you without resistance?" However, Xiao Gang didn't find it funny at all and nodded seriously. Indeed, usually, those they try to hunt can only evade, but no one has been successful in doing so. However, their prices aren't ordinarily high. Normal people wouldn't be able to afford it. I only knew about his identity from the tattoo on his wrist. The 2-sided dagger means to fight till the last gasp. The sword has no handle, only 2 tips at both ends. And... Xiao Gang hesitated and looked at Yi Mo before saying, "The hitmen in Earth Fiend is divided into 3 calibers, Heaven, Earth, and Human. The one you have just killed is the lowest human-level hitman. But once you kill their hitmen, you will be the enemy of Earth Fiend. They will pursue the person to the ends of the earth. There are no exceptions. So, Brother Yi, it's my fault this time. You can't run around now, so how about you come back to the Chao family with me?" Tang Beiwei heard Xiao Gang's words and clutched Yi Mo's hand tightly. She didn't think her brother just got into a conflict with such a terrifying organization. Yi Mo waved his hand and said, "Brother Chao, don't worry. I'm not worried about a mere hitman organization. 3 days later, I will be waiting for you at the front gate of this university on time. I think your family also needs to arrange some things, so I won't disturb you. Xiao Gang looked as Emo pulled Tang Beiwei and left feeling more and more guilty. Emo got into this trouble due to saving him, but he couldn't solve this issue. Let's go back first. Xiao Gang then told the bodyguard to bring the hitman into the car, and they disappeared quickly. Brother, what do we do? Tang Beiwei was the one worried the most. She finally found her kin, but soon, her brother would be hunted by the Earth Fiends. She was very worried. Emo patted Tang Beiwei's shoulder. Don't worry, I'll send you to Beijing tomorrow. You can stay with Sister Yi Ling. After I deal with things here, I will come find you. Don't you know my power? I've learned Dao magic. What can a mere hitman organization do to me? Tang Beiwei didn't talk, but Emo knew that she was mostly unhappy with his suggestion. He was helpless. If it wasn't due to Earth Fiend, he would let Tang Beiwei do what she wanted. Just when Emo still wanted to persuade her, Tang Beiwei said, Brother, I don't want to go to the Yi family. Since you're not from the Yi family, I have an even lesser connection to them, so I don't want to go. Emo's mind blanked out for a second, but immediately understood Tang Beiwei's concern then. He thought about it, and it really was so. He was at most related to Yi Zifeng and Yi Ling in the Yi family. Thinking about this, Emo said embarrassingly, Sorry, Beiwei. I didn't think about it clearly. Let me think again. Tang Beiwei heard Emo take back his words, so she immediately smiled sweetly. Actually, brother, if they really are going to attack me, it's no use even if you send me to the Yi family. Plus, perhaps I'm safer by your side. Emo nodded and said, Okay, we'll do that. Let's see how bold this organization is. If they really dare to attack you, then don't blame me for the consequences. Emo had too many enemies that he didn't worry about such things anymore. He had a feud with North Sand, and now he got into a conflict with an international hitman organization. Since there was already a feud, there was no use worrying about it. That night, the two didn't stay at a hotel and went to Tang Beiwei's house for the night instead. Tang Beiwei's house was very shabby indeed. Emo didn't see any valuable appliances. From this, it could be seen that she really lived a poor life with her mother. Tang Beiwei seemed to have noticed Emo's sadness, but she didn't think of it that much. Instead, she was quite happy. Although her mother left, she still had a big brother. However, it was unfortunate that her mother couldn't stay with her. She would definitely not go live with that Song Chiming. Brother, I suspect that Song guy knows you were going to look for trouble with the Song family, so she took my mother away. But I really don't want my mother to be hurt. Brother, if you go to the Song family, just... Tang Beiwei knew that Emo had a massive feud with the Song family, and she couldn't find the right words for Emo to let the Song family go. Emo sighed. He knew that Song Chiming had achieved his goal. It was quite hard for him to kill Song Chiming in front of the woman who raised Tang Beiwei for more than 20 years. But he definitely wouldn't just let things slide. Perhaps he didn't even think about going to the Song family these few days at Tan due to Tang Beiwei. Song Chiming, he definitely wouldn't let go of her. At most, he wouldn't let Tang Beiwei's mother see. Xinjiang had a population of nearly 40 million. Zhang family could be said to be the largest family in Xinjiang and was also one of the 5 great families of China. Could be said that they were ranked first in power. But other than Zhang family, the Chao family also had a large part of their power in Xinjiang. In the 5 great families, the Chao family was ranked 3rd, just below the Zhang family and Li family. At the same time, there was an obvious conflict when both the Zhang family and Chao family was developing in Xinjiang. Even the younger generation of the 2 families was highly competitive. Originally, this blood coral was found by Zhang He of the branch family. Due to various reasons of the previous generation, the Tandu Zhang branch was gradually fading out of the Xinjiang Zhang family and couldn't even be connected to them anymore. They were becoming a small family on the boundary. But due to this blood coral event and Zhang He's exceptional driving skills, it allowed the Tandu Zhang family to be once again connected to the Xinjiang Zhang family. The Xinjiang Zhang family wanted to forcefully enter the situation, and the other 3 families couldn't do anything about it because, strictly speaking, The Tandu Zhang family was a branch of the Zhang family. Moreover, the Zhang family was too powerful. They had this unknown force behind them. The other few families didn't dare to compete with the Zhang family overtly. So the only thing they could do was to win the blood quarrel through a race. At this moment, the atmosphere in the Chao family wasn't good. Other than Chao Gang's father, Chao Shenghu, all the elites of the Chao family were here. Big Uncle Wu Chong had confirmed. The person Chao Gang brought back was the human-level hitman of Earth Fiend indeed, and they used the unique crossbow of Earth Fiend. The man speaking was Chao Shengbao, Chao Gang's fourth uncle. Chao Zheng heard the words and he frowned. Although the blood coral is precious, it isn't worth it to offend this Earth Fiend organization for it. At this moment, a man in his 30s sitting behind Chao Shengbao said, "Sai, this EMO is too impulsive. Although he's quite strong, he can't just kill people casually. Now, he's dead for sure, but our Chao family will also be affected. Chao Gang, next time be careful in making friends. Not all people can become friends. Your societal experience is too little. If it was me, I wouldn't even make such friend." Chao Gang's face changed and stood up immediately. "Chao Jijun, what do you mean? So I should be killed and not retaliate? EMO saved my life. You mean that he should just be killed?" Chao Jijun wasn't angry at all and spoke plainly. "Chao Gang, I'm just saying the fact. Our Chao family is a big family. How are we going to develop if you do things so recklessly?" "Oh, so how are you going to deal with it?" Seeing Chao Jijun use a pedantic tone, Chao Gang asked while suppressing his anger. He knew that a lot of people weren't happy that he was the successor of the family. Chao Jijun sneered. "If you don't have some balls, how is the family going to live? If it was me, I would have immediately captured that EMO and sent him to the Earth Fiend asking for their forgiveness." "Bullshit." Chao Gang was extremely furious. "Are you going to capture me and send me to them too? That's enough. Don't yell in the family meeting. All of you calm down." Chao Jin tapped the table. Chao Gang still looked coldly at Chao Jijun, his eyes filled with fury. At this moment, an old man sitting beside Chao Jin coughed and said, "Actually, Jijun's idea might be a good way. After all, EMO is just a normal person. We'll compensate his sister." "Third grandpa you." Chao Gang didn't expect someone to conform to Chao Jijun's idea, and it was an elder of the family. He immediately felt alone and weak. EMO was his savior. Even if he lost his life, he couldn't do such a thing. Chao Jin waved his hand. "Everyone's ideas are right. After all, we're all thinking for the family." Speaking of EMO, I remembered that abandoned son of the Beijing Yi family. Would the two be the same person? How can that be? The Song family is so scared of the Beijing EMO that they are about to disband. How could that EMO be willing to be someone else's driver and agree to help Chao Gang in a race? I have heard of that EMO, that he's proud and cold. He's very vengeful and decisive in killing. Chao Shengbao said immediately. "Decisive in killing?" Chao Zhen repeated and frowned. This EMO, whom Chao Gang had just met, killed this hitman immediately just because the hitman was going to kill Chao Gang. Wasn't this decisive in killing? And he dared to beat policemen in broad daylight. Was this really that EMO? Bring a picture of that Beijing EMO over. Chao Zhen was very decisive and did things immediately. The picture was soon brought over. Chao Zhen gave the picture to Chao Gang. "Ganger, see if this is the same EMO you know." Chao Gang took the picture and immediately said, "Grandpa, it's him. This is the brother Yi I know." Hearing Chao Gang's words, Chao Zhen actually gasped a sigh of relief. What a huge joke capturing this EMO and giving him to Earth Fiend. Was this EMO someone who could be captured? Although the Song family was ranked 4th in the 5 great families, Chao Zhen knew that the Song family was the real second family. Purely from politics, the Song family could even be ranked 1st. Even the Song family was no match for this EMO. It was suicide for the Chao family to take on EMO. Plus, this EMO saved his grandson. As expected, when they heard that the EMO Chao Gang knew was that EMO from Beijing, everyone in the Chao family shut their mouths. Chao Jijun glared bleakly at Chao Gang and cursed. He didn't expect this Chao Gang to be so lucky to know even the EMO of Beijing. Beijing EMO, no matter how strong you are dead in killing people of the Earth Fiend. Chao Jijun calmed down soon. This EMO couldn't be cocky for long. Okay, we'll leave it at that. From now on, no one if the family shall reveal Yi Mo's identity. 3 days later, Yi Mo will still represent our Chao family to participate in the race. Chao Zhen ordered. Of course, Chao Gang had heard of Beijing EMO. He didn't think at all that the EMO he knew was that legendary EMO. He killed Otan Hu. Who was Otan Hu? As a direct descendant of the family, there was no way he didn't know. Such a powerful person agreed to race for him. Thinking about this, Chao Gang felt quite proud. Lucky that he didn't act up in front of EMO. Chao Gang then thought about Yemo's calm attitude upon hearing about Earth Fiend, and he couldn't help admiring him. Perhaps only someone like Brother Yi wouldn't feel threatened because of a hitman organization like Earth Fiend. Emo and Tang Beiwei spoke for the entire night, and just as it was almost daylight, Tang Beiwei sank into sleep. Emo, however, made a defensive bracelet and wore it himself. Although this bracelet was completely useless against the attacks of ancient martial artists, it could still defend against normal ambushes. Even without the defensive bracelet, Emo wouldn't be afraid of ambushes. But since he could defend without moving, why not? When Tang Beiwei woke up, it was already noon. After cleaning herself, Emo took Tang Beiwei to buy some daily items on the streets before going back to the university to get her personal belongings. Although Tang Beiwei didn't know where Emo had put these things, she knew that her brother was very magical and she didn't ask. Although she was curious, she was mature enough to know that sometimes it was not good to ask if her brother didn't want to say. It wasn't too good to ask. But in fact, Emo didn't think too much of it. Tang Beiwei knew about a lot of his powers, that he didn't need to hide a storage ring from Tang Beiwei. Seeing her confusion, he just showed the ring to her. When Emo brought Tang Beiwei to the Tandu hospital, Pang Haixiang and Hu Exec were already waiting at the door. Seeing Emo walk over, Pang Haixiang immediately came up. There was full of relief in her eyes. Although Lin San had called Hu Exec saying that Emo had gotten out, she still wasn't relieved until seeing Emo personally. Magical Dr. Yi, were you okay yesterday? You were taken by the police, so Hu Exec and I were both very worried. Pang Haixiang's expression had revealed that she was indeed very worried. Emo nodded and had some good impression towards this Mrs. Pang. She didn't come up and talk about her husband straight away and instead asked about Emo's safety. Whether or not it was due to her experience in life, at least she knew what to do. Thanks for your concern. I'm fine. You husband should be at Tandu Hospital already, right? Emo only wanted to quickly cure him and leave. Yes. Sorry to bother you, Magical Dr. Yi. Although Pang Haixiang wanted Emo to immediately treat her husband, she couldn't make herself seem so desperate. Hu Yang finally found the opportunity to speak and said, Magical Dr. Yi, I'll take you there. He wanted to see how Emo would cure Pang Haixiang's husband. Emo and Tang Beiwei were led to the VIP room on the 3rd floor by Hu Yang. Who is this young man? The exec is so respectful to him and calls him Magical Doctor? This is too absurd, a nurse said quietly. Another nurse beside her said, This young man was the person who cured Chong Yuanyuan's leg yesterday. His medical skills are rather strong. You didn't see when he used acupuncture. His actions were like lightning. I saw it with my own eyes. This nurse was the nurse taking care of Chong Yuanyuan yesterday. A middle-aged female doctor who was prepared to finish her work saw this scene. She turned back in bewilderment and looked at another doctor and said, Manager Liu, don't tell me the arrogant person you spoke of yesterday was him? Did he cure Chong Yuanyuan's leg? At this moment, Manager Liu's face was flushed red. Yesterday, he still said this young man was insolent, but now, Hu Exec was calling him Magical Doctor. And the entire hospital now knew about what happened yesterday. This was a loud slap in the face to him. What's Hu Exec bringing him up for? Another doctor asked. I heard there's a patient transferred here from Hong Kong Mali Hospital. It said that the hospital cannot do anything about the situation. They heard that the Dr. Yi was very powerful, so they transferred him today. The nurse replied immediately. Obviously, she knew very clearly about what happened. There's actually such magical doctor? I must go up and see. It's good even if I learn a little bit. That doctor quickly followed. I will also go see. The middle-aged female doctor also followed, seeing another two doctors follow. Manager Lu focused and also quietly followed. To be honest, he still couldn't believe now that someone could cure Chong Yuanyuan's leg. However, Chong Yuanyuan had left the hospital already yesterday and he couldn't find her. Now he could go up to see if it was real. However, reality was harsh. Other than Pang Haixiang and Hu Exec, Yimo only brought Tang Beiwei into the patient's room. Other people could only wait outside. If it wasn't because he offended Earth Fiend, Yimo would let Tang Beiwei wait for him at the university. Although he wasn't afraid of this hitman organization, if they attacked Tang Beiwei, he wouldn't be able to do anything. The only way would be to keep Tang Beiwei by his side. If these people weren't as scary as Chao Gang said they were and didn't attack his sister, he would take Tang Beiwei to Beijing to see her mother, then deal with the Song family before sending Tang Beiwei to Luotsong. Pang Haixiang's husband looked very emaciated. His face was a little purple and his breathing was heavy. My husband's condition looks like heart disease, but many doctors have checked that he doesn't have heart disease. Once his face is purple to a certain extent, he would faint. Now the situation is getting worse and worse. Magical Dr. Yi. Although she tried to avoid Yimo's annoyance, she could care less about that much when it concerned her husband's safety. Yimo scanned with his spiritual sense. He didn't even need to diagnose with his hands and knew what disease this person had. He saw it on Earth before. It was purple coral poisoning. Purple coral was a material for crafting artifacts in the cultivation realm. It was a rare material even in the cultivation realm. Did Earth have that much purple coral? How come he didn't see one at all? Yimo felt gloomy. The man on the bed saw Yimo come over and struggled to sit up. Magical Dr. Yi. I'm Gui Taiming. Sorry to trouble you so much. I know my disease is very hard to cure and it's also hereditary. If you can't cure it, it's just my fate. Yimo originally wanted to say this condition was very simple to cure, but he heard Gui Taiming say this was actually hereditary and he frowned. This was the first time he heard of purple coral poisoning being hereditary. Did he diagnose wrongly? Seeing Yimo frown, Gui Taiming sighed. He knew that his condition was a bit hard even for the magical doctor here, but he had a positive outlook on things and he said immediately, my grandpa also died of this disease, so did my father. I don't have a son, I only have a daughter. It seems my disease stops at me. Yimo didn't reply. He took out a golden needle and pierced it into a chakra point on Gui Taiming and ran his chi down. He immediately knew he diagnosed right. It was indeed purple coral, but this poison shouldn't be hereditary. Yimo pulled out the golden needle and looked at Pang Haixiang, who had a hopeful face, and Hu Yang, who was very focused. He smiled and said, I can cure this, but... Pang Haixiang heard Yimo say he could cure her husband and immediately was overjoyed. After a while, she said, Magical Dr. Yi, as long as you can cure my husband, I will do anything I can. Originally, Yimo wanted Gui Taiming to tell him where he saw the purple coral, but then he thought about it and gave up on the idea. He didn't have to have this mine or... Plus, even if he asked, Gui Taiming might not know what he was talking about. Never mind. Yimo picked up a few golden needles and pierced it into different chakra points of Gui Taiming with extreme speed. With the use of qi, the purple coral poison was quickly pulled out by Yimo. Strictly speaking, Gui Taiming's condition was much better than Zhui Yushan, but his body wasn't as good as Zhui Yushan, so he wasn't able to drag it on as long as Zhui Yushan. After half an hour, Yimo took back the golden needles and said, It's done. Ha! Pang Haixiang looked at Yimo in shock. It was done? She didn't believe at all that it was done. No matter how powerful his medical skills were, it couldn't be done so quickly. There was no medicine eaten or a surgery happened. He just pierced a few needles and it was done? What? It's done just like that? Hu Yang asked and was also shocked. If he didn't know how serious Gui Taiming's condition was, and if it wasn't that he knew about Gui Taiming, he would think Yimo and Gui Taiming were together in a scandal. After a moment later, Pang Haixiang reacted first and quickly charged up and grabbed Gui Taiming's hand. Taiming, how are you? Gui Taiming immediately felt the pain and suffering in his body disappear completely. At first, he hadn't reacted, but now that his wife asked, he moved his limbs and stood up. Soon, he yelled out in joy, "I'm really okay. My body no longer hurts. There's actually such medical skills." Guotaiming murmured a few times and still couldn't believe it. There's actually such medical skills. This time it was Hu exec murmuring. He didn't believe it either that Emo could cure Guotaiming's disease so quick. After all, Guotaiming's was an incurable disease. In that case, I'll be leaving. Beiwei, let's go. Then Emo was about to leave with Tang Beiwei. Magical Dr. Yi, please stop. Guotaiming suddenly reacted and stopped Emo. Guotaiming took out a jade box from his bag and said to Emo, "Magical Dr. Yi, my ancestors were also a branch of ancient martial artists. However, they fell later on. When you treated me, you probably used inner chi, right? Could be seen that you're an ancient martial arts master. This box was passed down from my ancestor. I believe my descendants won't be learning ancient martial arts. You saved my life and there's nothing much I can give. I'll give you this box. Please take it, Magical Dr. Yi." Emo quickly pushed it away. "Mr. Gua, this is passed down by your ancestors, so I can't take it. You should keep it." Guotaiming shook his head and said, "I only have a daughter. Even if I have a son, I said to myself that if Dr. Yi could cure me, this jade box will be my humble gift. I know Dr. Yi may not think it's useful, but there's nothing much I can give that you'd feel valuable." Seeing that Guotaiming was being genuine, Emo could only take the jade box. He opened it and found a card inside. It should be a bank card. Other than the card, there was a goatskin map. It was obvious that it was from a very long time ago. It had an imprint of a region of a sea. The map had N or on it. It was the purple coral or. Emo immediately understood why Guotaiming's disease was hereditary. His jade box must have been passed down from his ancestor, and each generation would play with this purple coral. In the end, those who touched it would get this disease. However, Zhua Igua was different. The Gua family people saw this and still put it in the box, causing the purple coral to be preserved and passed down. Emo took out the card and said to Guotaiming, "I'll take this jade box, but as for the card, I can't take it." He didn't explain the purple coral thing. Since he gave the purple coral to him, Guotaiming's descendants wouldn't be affected by it anymore. Despite Guotaiming's repeated requests, Emo still didn't take the card. He wasn't short on money. Even if he had a few $100 million, it wouldn't be enough for him. Emo thought he needed more precious herbs and materials for his cultivation, which would cost a tremendous amount of fortune. When his situation stabilized, he would think of ways to gather wealth. After participating in the hidden sect auction, Emo felt just relying on his online clinic. No matter how much money he earned, it wouldn't be enough to buy one flower of the blue flower blue leaf grass. He had to think of other ways to earn money. Ninghai. Outside the house Emo lived, Ning Qingxue was peacefully taking care of the silver heart grass. She missed Emo a lot when he wasn't here. Emo hadn't been back for a few months but knew that Emo would come back. He promised her after all. The silver heart grass was growing well, and with Ning Qingxue's care, the biggest one was already 8 centimeters tall. She didn't care that much about cultivation, but in order to not fall too far behind Emo, she would force herself to spend a certain amount of time to cultivate each day. The other time, she would either take care of the silver heart grass or play with her necklace. She liked the pearls around her neck a lot. Last time when Su Jingwen saw this necklace, she also liked it a lot, but Ning Qingxue wouldn't give this necklace to Su Jingwen. Strictly speaking, this was the only gift Emo gave her. "Qingxue, come with me to go shopping at Walking Street." Su Wei finished work early today and came back before 5 p.m. and called out to Qingxue as soon as she walked in the door. Walking Street. Ning Qingxue remembered the golden cake and felt hungry. She smiled and agreed with Su Wei's idea. The Walking Street was the place where Ning Qingxue visited the most. Most of the time, she would come to eat golden cake. Sometimes, she would come with Su Jingwen and Li Mumei. Sometimes, she would come with Su Wei. When she was very bored, she would come by a few times by herself. She felt that a golden cake had the shadow of Emo. Each time she ate it, she was very focused. At this moment, the Walking Street was still very popular. The sky wasn't completely dark yet, but all the small stores had been pushed out. Two Taoists were walking casually in this street. One of them was in his 50s and another was only a little over 20. Sai, it's really a pity. We missed the auction by a month. I heard there was actually a blue carrot and 2 face preserving pills. I wonder if it's real. Master, I feel like this mortal world is too impure. We should go back. The younger Taoist wandered for a few days and felt this vibrant world was just like that. Nothing special. As expected, as soon as this younger Taoist said that, the older Taoist immediately had the look of approval in his eyes and nodded. Indeed, Yuan Zhong, your mental state is very good. You weren't mesmerized by this flowery world. I can relax now. Okay, since you're already annoyed, we'll go back to cultivate. Now, you won't keep thinking about the outside world. This younger Taoist called Yuan Chong had a sneaky look in his eyes, but said very straightforwardly, Master is right. However, just as he said this, he froze. He stared dazedly at the 2 girls in front of him, and he couldn't even move. What's up? The older Taoist immediately noticed. Yuan Chong swallowed some saliva and said, Master, I want that woman. She's so pretty. If she can be my wife, I'm willing to stay in the sect my entire life. The older Taoist followed Yuan Chong's gaze and saw a girl wearing a blue flower skirt holding a golden cake in her hands. She bit down carefully with eyes filled with gentleness. It was an extreme beauty indeed. This sort of woman was rare even in the hidden sects, much less the mortal world. They actually met a woman so out of this world in a small place like here. No wonder his disciple wanted this woman. However, if he could find a girl to stay with Yuan Chong and calm him down in the sect, it would be quite good. Thinking about this, the old Taoist smiled. This girl is not bad indeed, but this sort of thing should be mutual. If she doesn't like you, then, Master, I must have her. With my talent and looks, it's a good match. And when she completely understands who we are, she would feel lucky. Not everyone has the luck to enter our world. Master! Yuan Chong gulped his saliva again. His eyes never left the girl eating the golden cake. The old Taoist nodded and said, Emicham, you're right. It's her luck indeed if she can enter our sect. Go ask her and see if she's willing. But you need to know your boundaries. I can tell her temperament is very royalty-like. Perhaps her background is very strong. Yes, Master, but you're thinking too much. The outer hidden sects have fallen heavily. Master, you have taken me to see a few of them, but the highest is only a mere earth level. These people are too dumb, much less a girl from the mortal world. Don't worry. Then Yuan Chong rushed towards that girl eating the golden cake. Girl, hello? I'm Yuan Chong. Although this young Taoist was into the girl, he had zero social experience. He didn't know how to express himself or even have a pickup line. Ning Qingxue was just eating the golden cake and reminiscing her time with Emo, but was scared by this Taoist who suddenly appeared. She quickly took a few steps back and looked at Yuan Chong in vigilance. The small Taoist Yuan Chong saw Ning Qingxue at a close distance. She had this beauty with a sliver of goddess-like royalty temperament, thus making him unable to control himself. Now that Ning Qingxue looked at him in vigilance, he quickly saluted with his fist. I'm Yuan Chong. I'm from the hidden sects, also the immortal sects called by the mortal world. My master feels your talent is suitable for the immortal arts of our sect. Ning Qingxue frowned and pulled Su Wei. Su Wei, let's go. Idiot. Su Wei didn't have the good temper of Ning Qingxue and swore at the Taoist. Yuan Chong didn't expect that Su Wei dared to swear at him. He went up and grabbed Su Wei, tossing her many meters out into a stall. Su Wei was smashed to the floor and wasn't able to get up. Ning Qingxue quickly went up and helped Su Wei up while looking coldly at Yuan Chong. She was going to call the police. Seeing Ning Qingxue make the call, although Yuan Chong didn't have much social experience, he knew that Ning Qingxue was probably going to call for help. He went up and was about to grab Ning Qingxue's phone, but just when he did, he was blocked by a yellow light which disappeared immediately. Yuan Chong looked at his hand. It was actually blocked. The force was actually very strong. He was the publicly renowned genius for ancient martial arts. He was only 26 years old but was already at the black level peak. Now, he couldn't even take a phone from a girl. Was this girl also an ancient martial arts master? Thinking about this, Yuan Chong no longer tried to steal the phone but punched toward Ning Qingxue. In this punch, he used 30% of his power. Bang, this time, Yuan Chong saw clearly that his fist was blocked by a pale yellow light, but this light eventually couldn't take the power of his fist and was broken. Although Ning Qingxue's defensive bracelet blocked Yuan Chong's fist, she was still sent flying onto the street and fell down at an intersection of roads, being bumped by a car passing by. At this moment, Su Wei had crawled up and just saw Ning Qingxue being hit by the car. She became scared and she quickly rushed over to help Ning Qingxue up. That older Taoist quickly came in front of Ning Qingxue and put his hand in front of Ning Qingxue's nose. His face immediately went very bad. Master! Yuan Chong also felt his fist was a bit too heavy. The old Taoist sighed, speaking to the year of the young Taoist. Yuan Chong, you've caused trouble. This girl can't be saved. We need to leave quickly. Yuan Chong looked at Ning Qingxue with regret and longing. I attacked too heavily, but master, your words are too exaggerated. This is causing trouble? Who would be a match for you in the outside world? Humph, you really don't know how tall the heavens are and how thick the earth is. The defensive amulet the girl wore was obviously high level. Even I rarely see something like that. Someone with such an amulet wouldn't have a simple background, the old Taoist said and looked at the coming police car. He didn't talk more with the young Taoist and grabbed him, disappearing in a few steps. 2 days passed very quickly. Although nothing happened in these 2 days, Yemo still didn't dare to leave his sister by herself. But finally he felt more eased. After this was done, he would ask about what sort of an organization Earth Fiend really was. When Yemo and Tang Beiwei came to the front gate of the university, Chao Gang had been waiting for them there already. However, Yemo felt that Chao Gang's attitude to him was a little different. He could really tell the difference, but Chao Gang seemed more reserved. Was it because of Earth Fiend last time? Yemo also knew now wasn't the time to ask, so after the race was over, he would then ask Chao Gang. Although Chao Gang was a little reserved, he was very happy seeing Yemo. However, Yemo noticed that Chao Gang didn't bring his bodyguard today. Yemo immediately understood that that sort of bodyguard was just a display for an Earth Fiend hitman. Brother Yi, the car is ready. It's on the race course. Let's go over now. Chao Gang just drove over an ordinary Mercedes car. After inviting Yemo and Tang Beiwei in the car, Chao Gang drove. After starting the car, he said, Brother Yi, I will tell you about the situation. The racers invited by the other 3 families are all international racers. Some have even gotten first place in F1 racing. Yemo asked curiously, Young Master Chao, since the other people are all inviting international racers, why does your Chao family still invite me? I'm no racer. Chao Gang heard Yemo's words and immediately replied, Brother Yi, you're being too humble. I'm sure that even an international racer won't be able to dump my Porsche behind with an Audi in such a short time, but Brother Yi, you did it. I believe in you. Plus, mountain driving is different to international racing. Even an F1 racer won't have much advantage. I have a map of the course here. Brother Yi, take a look. Then Chao Gang handed Yemo a map. Yemo took it and looked and then realized the race ground was under a peak at the Guixiang Ranges. The path was very curved and the race was quite dangerous. With a small mistake, it wouldn't be racing but plummeting to your death. Despite Tang Beiwei having a lot of faith in Yemo, she was still worried upon seeing the map in her brother's hands. This wasn't racing cars but racing life. As though seeing Tang Beiwei's worry, Yemo smiled and said, Don't worry. I've been on this road before. It's nothing. Yemo didn't lie. However, it was when Dong driving before. Chao Gang said apologetically, I guess the race grounds would be here, and it was. It's very easy to fall off the cliff, so if Brother Yi doesn't want to race, we still have other people. Yemo waved his hand. Young Master Chao, if I don't participate, it definitely won't be due to danger but time. Chao Gang seemed to know Yemo was telling the truth and nodded. I'm actually quite familiar with that road. It's because we usually chose this place to race. Yemo knew what Chao Gang meant. It was a place where the bored young masters expended their abundant energy. Despite Chao Gang driving very fast, It was already an hour or so later after they arrived at the racecourse, and the entrance to this road had been sealed. There was a big open area at the foot of the mountain, and there were already about 50 to 60 people there. The racetrack at the bottom of the mountain was very wide and could space 7 or 8 cars, and the racers could choose a path halfway. One way was 20 miles long, but if you wanted to take over other cars, you had to go on the takeover path. That would mean going an extra 5 kilometers. But the rule of the race was as long as you got to the finish line first, you win. When Emo and they got off the car, there were immediately many glances looking at them. Emo saw a few race cars lined up at the grass. Each one had someone to guard it. Each family had their own car. It was his first time seeing so many customized brands. Ferrari, Lamborghini, BMW, Lotus, Porsche, Bugatti, and so on. Chao Gang brought Emo and Tang Beiwei to the Chao family's place. There were 4 cars parked here. The Chao family people came to say hi, but Emo just greeted them casually. He only came to help because he promised Chao Gang. He didn't have the mood to get friendly with the Chao family. Emo noticed Zhang He. When Zhang He saw Emo come, he had a cruel look in his eyes. He also had a racer who was not yet 30 beside him. His face was also very cold. Behind Zhang He there were 2 more people. One was a black racer. When Chao Gang saw the black racer, he immediately said quietly to Emo, "That's the international racer, Martin, invited by the Yun family. The Yun family is very interested in the blood coral and has spent a fortune on this. I suspect it was the Yun family who hired the hitman last time. This family is the most mysterious. When you get in the car, you need to be wary of the Yun family, and Zhang He, that punk, he's very sneaky." Emo nodded and scanned his eyes to the last 2. Chao Gang immediately said, "That's the River South Cha family people." It said the Cha family is a semi-hidden family. However, they are quite nice. I feel that amongst these families, the most amicable are the Cha family. The people they have invited aren't very famous, and they didn't bring up any requests to the blood coral. Hearing Chao Gang's introduction, Emo looked at the 2 racers of the Cha family. Indeed, they looked very positive and bright. Emo couldn't help but smile. Perhaps Chao Gang's words influenced him. He turned around and spoke to that waiter of the Chao family a bit. Chao Gang interrupted, "Brother Yi, go choose a car." Just when Emo wanted to choose a car, he felt this frigidness. He subconsciously wanted to look back, but he immediately stopped himself and scanned with his spirit sense carefully. In Yemo's perspective, something that could make him feel cold must be killing intent. Just then, Zhang He looked at him nefariously, but how could Zhang He, this useless spoon-fed kid, have this sort of killing intent? Regardless if it was him, if that person wanted to play tricks in the race, it would be suicide. However, Emo noticed Zhang He didn't look at him and was speaking to the racer next to him. Emo thought and immediately scanned the 2 racers of the Yun family. They were fine too. Then, his spirit sense stayed on the 2 racers of the Cha family, but found one of them seemingly looking at him. Emo was sure that if he didn't have spirit sense, he definitely wouldn't be able to find this racer's gaze. The eyes of that racer lost that positive look and flashed across killing intent. It was actually the most amicable family, Chao Gang said. Emo frowned. That racer who showed killing intent to Emo immediately returned to his positive bright look. He didn't even know the Cha family. Why would they have killing intent for him? River South Cha family? Emo suddenly remembered that Wu Guang monk mentioned to him that Cha family was a semi-hidden sect. No matter who it was, he wouldn't let go of those who had their killing intent targeted to him. Emo scanned this racer's body with his spirit sense again and felt dazed. At a very discreet place in the racer's sleeve, there was a tattoo with a double-sided knife. Earth Fiend Hitman? No wonder he felt killing intent, it was a hitman. However, this hitman was too low caliber, as his killing intent was leaking. Although he had a good masquerade, Emo could see it clearly. According to Chao Gang's description, 2 knives meant it was a human-level hitman. Emo sneered. Since he found the Earth Fiend killer, it meant that this killer probably came for him. Discovering a hitman, Emo immediately became careful. His spirit sense kept scanning everyone on the scene. He carefully checked to see if their wrists were tattooed, but soon, Emo found that another girl also had the same tattoo. There were 2 hitmen here. Yemo's heart sank. He wasn't afraid of Earth Fiend but was worried about his sister Tang Beiwei. If these hitmen only had their targets on him, he wouldn't mind, but what if these hitmen also targeted Tang Beiwei? No matter where he took Tang Beiwei, she wouldn't be safe. Brother Yi, let's go choose a car. Xiao Gang saw Yemo hesitant and he reminded him. Okay. Yemo casually chose a customized Mercedes and then looked at Xiao Gang and said, when we race, it's fine if I take my sister too, right? Yemo had decided that if he had to leave his sister here facing that female assassin, he would rather not help Xiao Gang race. Xiao Gang was initially dazed, but he immediately replied, of course, it's fine. But this way, Brother Yi, you would be at a disadvantage. It's better the lighter you are. Sometimes, just a little weight can affect the race. Yeah, brother. How about I wait for you here? Tang Beiwei persuaded. Yemo shook his head. No, I must take you with me. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel safe leaving you here. In that case, Brother Yi, go test your car. Xiao Gang saw that Yemo was dogmatic and didn't continue to try to persuade him. The 4 cars of the Chow family also had people guarding it outside. However, those not from the Chow family weren't allowed to go near it. However, Yemo was the racer, so when they came, the guard immediately moved aside. Yemo brought Tang Beiwei in the customized Mercedes and drove 2 circles. Tang Beiwei asked, brother, did you notice something? Yemo nodded and said, Amicham, I found 2 Earth Fiend killers. They must be coming for us. I'm worried to leave you here alone. Tang Beiwei finally understood why Yemo insisted on taking her. Now, she knew the severity of the issue. Could be said from now on, either Yemo or the Earth Fiend had to die. What to do now? How about this, you send me to the Yi family? Tang Beiwei had understood Yemo. If she followed behind Yemo, she would only be a burden. Although she didn't want to go to the Yi family, in order to not drag her brother down, she wouldn't mind stepping out of her comfort zone. Yemo shook his head and said, Beiwei, you're thinking too simple. If the Earth Fiend really has its target set on us too, then it wouldn't be any use even if you go to the Beijing Yi family. But you don't need to worry. I have a place to send you to. After I completely annihilate the Earth Fiend, then I will come to take you back. However, that place is empty and cold. You might not be able to take it. Tang Beiwei nodded her head firmly and said, brother, don't worry about me. Just send me there. I'm not afraid. Okay. After I break through, I will make the Earth Fiend pay. How dare they target me? Yemo's tone went sharp. Wait. Sit in the car and don't move. I'll check the car. Yemo suddenly stopped talking and frowned. The frigidness in his eyes was getting intense. Tang Beiwei looked strangely at Yemo and asked, what's wrong, brother? Yemo didn't reply. He stopped the car and used invisibility and came to the bottom of the car. He took off a time bomb. Luckily, he checked carefully with his spiritual sense. He didn't expect this car to even have a time bomb set up. These people really had some power. If this car had a time bomb, it meant the other cars had a time bomb too. It seemed these Earth Fiend people were really prepared. Not only did they plant the time bomb but also sent 2 people over. Yemo was sure that it was either the Cha family racer or the female hitman who planted the bomb. Zhang, he didn't have such ability to do so. After taking off the bomb, Yemo got in the car and drove it back. How's the car? As soon as Yemo got off, Xiao Gang came and smiled. Yemo nodded. Not bad. This car has very good features after the customization. By the way, young Master Xiao, can you help me get some water? I'm thirsty. After getting Xiao Gang away, Yemo quickly went invisible and took off another 3 bombs from the Xiao family cars. Yemo didn't dare to keep these bombs on him. Although he was sure the Earth Fiend people would detonate it during the race, who knew if they would go crazy and detonate it now. Just when he put the bomb aside and came back to the car, Xiao Gang came and passed a bottle of water to Yemo. Brother Yi. Let's go in and have a rest. It will start soon. Brother Yi, when the race begins, I suspect the Zhang family will play dirty. I will keep an eye on Zhang He, that punk, while you keep an eye on the guy beside him. Also, we need to be mindful of the Yun family. We don't need to worry about the Cha family. Looking at the people they sent this time, They probably don't have much hope for the race. The few people went into the resting room and Xiao Gang immediately shared his analysis. Emo used his spirit sense to keep notice on the 4 cars. He was afraid that someone would try to do something to it again. However, although Emo didn't agree with Xiao Gang's words, he didn't argue. Things were the exact opposite of what Xiao Gang said. The most amicable Cha family was the most dangerous character. The race is about to begin. Let's go out. I'll go test my car. Xiao Gang stood up. Emo brought Tang Beiwei and Xiao Gang out and immediately noticed that nice-looking female hitman. He immediately said to Tang Beiwei, "Beiwei, wait for me at the racecourse. I will drive the car over there immediately." Tang Beiwei had no objections to all to Yemo's suggestions. She believed that everything Yemo did was right. No matter how mysterious Yemo was, she didn't mind as long as Yemo was her brother. Yemo walked over to this girl. "Hello, I'm Yemo. Can I get to know you?" Yemo smiled and extended his hand. The girl didn't expect Yemo to go up to her. Although she wasn't that attractive in here, there were a few girls prettier than her. Her first reaction was that Yemo had already found her. But then she thought this was impossible. She just came here, so no one knew her. She reached out her hand anxiously. "Hello, I'm Dong Qing." Yemo clearly felt her heart beat rapidly and then returned to normal. It seemed this female hitman was still not experienced. Yemo grabbed Dong Qing's hand and squeezed, not letting go for a long time until Dong Qing's face blushed and tried to pull her hand out. "Actually, I feel you're a special girl, so I wanted to know you. You have a temperament that other girls don't have. It's quite attractive. I don't have any bad intentions. I just really want to ask you out for dinner. How about we go eat after the race? What do you think?" Yemo was still using his spirit sense to make a mark. Of course, she wouldn't let Dong Qing pull her hand away so easily. Just when Dong Qing didn't know what to do, he let go of her hands. Although it was a short time, Yemo already made a spirit sense mark on Dong Qing. After the race, he would follow this Dong Qing. Since the Earth Fiend was interested in him, he had to be friendly. Dong Qing looked down and just said one word and blushed. Yemo sneered. This hitman was quite good. She was more professional than actors, blushing at will. Sigh. Yemo saw that Dong Qing didn't talk and sighed while staring at her chest. What's wrong? Just when Dong Qing wanted to say something, she saw Yemo stare right at her chest. Her mind blanked out. Didn't the data not say that Yemo was very lustful? What was this? Yemo smiled and didn't reply. Then he said, "Wait for me." And he turned to leave, but he murmured, "If only it was a little bigger." And Dong Qing happened to hear this remark. She immediately knew that Yemo was saying her chest was too small. However, Yemo's voice was very quiet. He probably didn't say it for her, but she had this strange feeling. Dong Qing bit her teeth. Although a hitman was supposed to be not affected by emotions, she was still infuriated by Yemo. How was her chest small? Did this guy have eyes? Although she knew Yemo was a dead person, she still wanted to charge up and grab him and ask how exactly was she small. As a hitman, she should resist the urge, but as a woman, she really couldn't tolerate that. Yemo did it intentionally, of course. His last words were meant to make Dong Qing angry, and his spirit sense would disappear from her body. Although she wouldn't be able to find it even if Dong Qing wasn't infuriated, he still wanted to be more careful. After all, after he killed the other killer, Dong Qing would be his only source. Instead of waiting for this organization to find him, he might as well attack them. It wasn't Yemo's character to wait. Since this organization wanted to look for trouble with him, Yemo would make them regret. Yemo walked over the Mercedes and picked up the 4 bombs and then drove the car next to the Cha family cars. Xiao Gang drove a customized Porsche. He was surprised seeing Yi Missouri drive his car next to the Cha family cars, but he soon understood. Yemo must think the Cha family would be easier to surpass, and this decision was right. There were 8 cars and only Yemo took someone else in the car. Everyone else was surprised and soon started laughing at him. Who would bring another person in the car to a race? Dong Qing dazed for a moment. She obviously didn't expect Yemo would bring Tang Beiwei into the car. Tang Beiwei was her original target, and since she was brought on the car by Yemo, things were easier. Dong Qing gasped a breath of relief. Although her higher-up said Yemo was very difficult to deal with and sent out 2 people at once, she felt the higher-ups were being too careful. Perhaps this would be the easiest mission she would do. As the light turned green from red, the Zhang family's black racer was the first to charge across the starting line. Meanwhile, Chao Gang was the second to go. The 2 racers of the Yun family were the 3rd and 4th. Yemo was the 5th. He knew that if he didn't go, Zhang He wouldn't either. To Zhang He, his life was probably more important than blood coral. Yemo anticipated right. The last to go was the 2 racers of the Cha family. As expected, Zhang He went in front and blocked Yemo. This was mountain racing, and only the starting part was spacious. The road got tighter as the race progressed. Some places only allowed 1 car to pass. Zhang He's speed was very fast. He tailgated closely to Yemo's Mercedes while driving a Lamborghini. Yemo sneered. Although he followed the 2 racers of Yun family closely, he wasn't able to shake Zhang He away. He didn't know when the Earth Fiend Killer would detonate the bomb, and he also wanted to see the power of this bomb. Although the mountain racing course was very dangerous, the racers were still going very fast. That black driver was far ahead of everyone else. But Chao Gang was slowly being overtaken by a racer of the Yun family. At this moment, they had driven 1/10 of the path. When they were about to go into the most dangerous section of the mountain waste, Yemo suddenly sped up his car. Meanwhile, Zhang He was planning to force Yemo off the cliff at this place. Yemo knew that the moment he started to fight with Zhang He, it would be the time that Hitman attacked. Zhang He held his steering wheel tightly and sneered. "Fight with me? I started doing the mountain racing long time ago, when you probably even didn't know what car racing was." He said this to himself and then suddenly stood down on the accelerator. His car dashed towards Yemo's tail. He was confident that he could squeeze Yemo into the cliff without anything happening to him. Zhang He's calculations were very accurate. He had calculated that there was a turn ahead and he only needed to accelerate. Before Yemo could turn, he could bump Yemo off the cliff. Meanwhile, his car could use this repelling force to make a big turn without any affects. He had always been in mountain racing and knew how powerful this dash could be. He also knew that this force couldn't be too strong nor too weak. If too strong, his car would follow off the cliff. If too weak, he wouldn't be able to bump Yemo off. Although it was a bit hard, Zhang He believed in his technique. Rumble. The engine of the Lamborghini bursted, carrying out white smoke. Just when Yemo was about to turn, it rammed towards Yemo's car. As soon as his car touched Yemo's car's tail, he would turn the steering wheel. Behind Zhang He, the racer and the hitman of Cha family also dazed. Zhang He obviously wanted Yemo's life. This was what they wanted too. At the same time, that Earth Fiend Killer almost detonated the bomb but stopped, thinking that it would save him trouble if someone else would kill Yemo. He only needed to detonate the bomb on the car of Chao Gang later. After Zhang He slammed down on the accelerator, it almost instantly caught up to Yemo. Before Zhang He could rejoice, he felt something was wrong. Since he caught up, there should have been a collision and Yemo would be rammed off the mountain. However, he found out that Yemo's car seemed to have suddenly disappeared while his car charged forward without halt. Not good. Yemo wanted both sides to end in death. He actually drove his car completely off the course. At this place, there was only enough room for 1 car to pass. Since Yemo moved aside, it meant he would fall off the cliff. Zhang He needed to turn sharply, however, as soon as he thought of that, he noticed that his car had went past the cliff. It was over. Zhang He turned and looked at that moment. His mind was full of disbelief. Yemo's car only had 2 wheels on the side of the cliff. The other 2 were hanging in mid-air. How was this possible? How did this car not fall off? But soon, his consciousness disappeared with a loud bang. Zhang He's car drove off the course and crashed. Although Tang Beiwei was nervous, she wasn't scared. She knew her brother's powers. He would definitely be able to handle this. Yemo saw Zhang He fall off the cliff and sneered. "You want to colonnege me with your petty moves?" But he was curious that killer actually didn't detonate the bomb in the meantime. He simply sent out his flying sword and used it to support the weight of his car. It seemed that his car only had 2 wheels on the roadside. Although his flying sword couldn't hold it very long, it was enough for Xianxia to drive off the cliff. After Xianxia's fall, Emo drove the car onto the track again before taking back his flying sword. What was this? The Cha family hitman rubbed his eyes. He thought he saw wrong. Emo clearly drove his car off the road. Why didn't he fall and could even drive back? This was absolutely impossible. However, just when he didn't know what was going on, Emo's car had already disappeared around the corner. Why aren't you detonating? Hurry, we will retreat as soon as our mission is over. There was the call of his partner on the hitman's phone. Yes, I'll detonate it now. This hitman was depressed. He put his hopes of Xianxia just then, but immediately this hope was gone and Xianxia lost his life too. The Cha family hitman pressed down on the detonator. Rumble, rumble. There was 2 loud sounds and the 2 cars of Cha family both fell off the cliff at the same time and erupted into flames before even reaching the bottom. However, these 2 gusts of flames fell to the bottom immediately. Dongqing even managed to make out some flames at the foot of the mountain. She had a bad feeling and immediately called for her partner, but there was no reply in a long time. Not good. Her sixth sense as a hitman told her that this mission was probably a failure and her partner might have been in trouble. She remembered Yemo's faint smile and that whatever attitude. Dongqing shivered. As a guy who could easily kill her partner and catch crossbow arrows, how could he be killed so easily? Ironically, she had been thinking this might be the easiest mission yet. Cold sweat started dripping down on her back. She subconsciously looked at the other 2 cars of the Chow family. She had the urge to go up and see if the bombs were gone. Dongqing subconsciously looked at the people at the foot of the mountain. Everyone was staring at the screen. There were no cameras at the sites of the incidents. The big screen only occasionally showed who was first. She secretly took out her phone and pretended to make a call as she neared the 2 cars of the Chow family parked on the side. The race had started and no one paid attention to the remaining cars. People only cared about the result of the race. Dongqing neared the car and chose the other side. She squatted and only checked one of the cars. Her heart immediately sunk. The bomb was gone. It must have been put under the 2 cars of the Cha family. Dongqing suddenly felt a cold sense on her back. She put the bombs there herself and she had been watching these 4 cars. But they were still taken away and put under their own cars instead. She didn't even know about it at all. What sort of ability was this? Dongqing couldn't calm down anymore. She had seen eerie things, but something like this was her first time. Her back sweated uncontrollably. When Emo came over to shake her hand, had he already known her identity? Instantly Dongqing drew the conclusion that Emo had 100% found out who she was and must have had a purpose to shake hands with her. Did he make some sort of mark on her in that short while? Go, immediately go. She finally understood now why Emo was going to bring his sister on the car. It was because he already knew who she was and was waiting till the end of the race to look for her trouble. Although Dongqing hadn't been in this career for long, her talent allowed her to succeed 5 assassinations in a short time. One of them was a mafia tycoon. It was very hard. If she succeeded this time, she would immediately get a second orange badge. For any Earth Fiend hitman, any badge was honor and wealth. Once she acquired all of the 7 human badges, she would ascend to Earth-level hitman. But today at this small place in Tandu, she felt fear. Dongqing didn't dare to stay for another minute. She was going to leave Tandu as soon as possible and find a place to burn all of her clothes and then change her clothes before leaving. Although she didn't know what Emo left on her body, her killer's sixth sense constantly told her she was in danger. Of course Emo heard that loud explosion. He sneered but also felt threatened. If he wasn't careful, perhaps the bang would be coming from his car. This explosion would cause him heavy injury even if it didn't kill him. Plus, he had his sister in the car. These Earth Fiend people were really bleak. Brother, was the explosion just then from the car of that killer? Of course Tang Beiwei also heard the explosion. Emo nodded. Yes, that hitman planted the bomb under our car and was discovered by me. I put their bombs back and then they detonated the bombs on themselves. This is called you suffer what you do. Tang Beiwei subconsciously clutched her hands and said after a long while of retrospective fear. These people are so bad. It serves them right. It was too dangerous just then. Then, her face showed worry. Although they avoided it this time, what about next time? Brother, I feel this society is really different from what I saw. Before, I only saw the surface and there were many that I couldn't see. Sigh. Only after experiencing it do I know how scary it is. Tang Beiwei exclaimed. Emo smiled. He had never felt this place was very safe. Although it was better than the cultivation realm, danger was still everywhere. He had already killed the few people who wanted to kill him. Emo's car had sped up. On the curved road, Emo's car was getting faster and faster. It had only been a few minutes before he saw the car in fourth place. It was from the Yun family. At a more spacious place, before this driver could react, Emo had surpassed him like the wind. The third was Chao Gang. Chao Gang was just surpassed by a Yun family driver and was now in third place. However, it was impossible for the fourth place to surpass Chao Gang. Just when Chao Gang was confused why Emo still hadn't caught up, he saw Emo's car rushing over like the wind. Of course Chao Gang wouldn't fight with Emo and immediately moved aside to let Emo take over. Keep this place. Emo reminded before overtaking Chao Gang. Emo thought that as long as he could surpass that Yu family driver, the Chao family would be the first. This was because although the black driver was first, Zhang he couldn't score points anymore. The second was that driver invited by the Yun family. His car skills were good indeed and didn't slow down even on such curvy roads. Although only one car could pass ahead, it would be very simple for Emo to take over him if he wanted. However, Emo didn't want to do things so absurdly. That having two wheels hanging in mid-air and not falling off was out of the ordinary. Despite this driver being very fast, he was still far from Emo who controlled with his spirit sense. This speed was already very fast for normal people, but from Emo's perspective, this speed was countless times slower than his flying sword. At a slightly wider section of the track, Emo stood the accelerator down to the bottom and immediately surpassed the Yun family driver. Madman! That Yun family driver was a far more dangerous terrain racer in Japan, but faced with Emo who didn't slow down even when turning, he felt this was too crazy. Emo released his flying sword. As soon as he was about to lose control at corners, he would use the flying sword to push. There was still 1/6 of the road, but Emo had already caught up to the black driver. Although the remaining 1/6 of the road was wide, there were no turns. It could be said this last part depended solely on the car itself. One only needed to step the accelerator down to the end. That black racer obviously knew his car's performance was better than Emo's. He drove a modified Ferrari. Plus, Emo had someone in his car. The advantages were obvious. He didn't even need to stop Emo. He only needed to step on his accelerator and he would win the race. Emo also stood hard on the accelerator and released his flying sword at the same time, making the sword push the back of the car, increasing the speed this way. The black man couldn't believe his Ferrari was slowly being overtaken by Emo's car. He stood on the accelerator while looking at Emo's Mercedes in confusion. A mere modified Mercedes could overtake his Ferrari. This was impossible. He was a racer. He only needed to hear the sound of the Mercedes and knew which generator it used. Couldn't compare with his Ferrari, but how was this Mercedes faster than his car? But no matter how hard he stood on the accelerator and could even feel his car was going to float, Emo's car still surpassed his without hesitation. Just when he wanted to use other means, he found that Emo's car had arrived at the final destination. Emo didn't go down the car and took back his flying sword. After he got off, the first thing he did was to check if Dongqing was still here. As he expected, she had left. However, Emo wasn't worried. He had his spirit sense mark and would find her sooner or later. Plus, if she was still here, Emo would be bemused. If a hitman didn't even have this sort of sense of vigilance, what sort of hitman was she? There were loud rumbles. The rest of the people had arrived. 8 people took part in the race, and only 5 finished the race. The other 3 crashed. Although things were very cruel, word wouldn't get out. The Yun family's 2 racers got 3rd and 5th, acquiring 10 points in total. The Zhang family had 1 death and the other got 2nd place. Their total points were 7. Cha family was 0. Chao family got 1st and 4th, totally 13 points, getting 1st in the race. Other than the 1 million, the blood coral belonged to the Chow family. Of course, the 1 million was just for sure. No one would care about this little money. The real prize was that blood coral. Yi brother, I was lucky to have you this time. I was right about you. You actually got first, haha. Let's go. My grandpa really wants to see you. Come to my family. Chow Gang came up grabbing Yimo's hand with excitement after hearing the Chow family got first. Yimo nodded. Okay. Let's go to your family and see. If there weren't the blood coral, Yimo wouldn't go to the Chow family no matter what. He had a lot of things now, but he needed to make sure if this blood coral was something of the cultivation realm. If it really was what he imagined, he would ask for it from the Chow family. Yimo's big name was out. Although the Chow family was a family larger than the Yi family, they didn't dare to treat Yimo carelessly. They were very polite to him. Although Chaozhen didn't come out to greet Yimo personally, he still came out during the feast. Mr. Yi, it was really lucky to have you this time. If it wasn't you, the blood coral wouldn't come to our Chow family. Chow Gang made a good friend this time. Come, Mr. Yi, cheers. Chow Shengbao seemed to care about the blood coral the most. His eyes were full of excitement. Yimo smiled. Just some small things. Not to worry. I wonder if I'm able to see this blood coral. Yimo didn't really like this Chow Shengbao. He was too materialistic, so when he spoke, he didn't even have a title for Chow Shengbao. If he confirmed that the blood coral wasn't what he was looking for, he would leave the Chow family without hesitation. In this Chow family, other than Chow Gang, who he had a good impression, he really didn't give a shit about the others. Chow Shengbao was obviously hesitating. In his eyes, although Yimo's name was out, this blood coral concerned great things. Fourth uncle, it's just having a look. It's no big deal. Chow Gang immediately interrupted. Chow Zheng laughed. Go, bring out the blood coral. Let everyone see. The leader of the family, Old Man Chow, even said this. Chow Shengbao immediately had nothing to say. Although he really didn't want to take out the blood coral, he could only go in and bring it out. As soon as the blood coral came out, there was faint spirit qi circulating it. Although it wasn't thick, Yimo immediately knew that his original guess was wrong. This blood coral really was a spirit herb of the cultivation realm, but it also existed on Earth, and even the name was the same. If he had this blood coral, perhaps he could reach stage 4 immediately. Chow Zheng was an old fox. He looked at Yimo's eyes and immediately knew that Yimo was also into this blood coral. Before Yimo said anything, Chow Zheng quickly said, if this blood coral didn't concern the future of our Chow family, it didn't matter if we gave it to you. However, this blood coral could allow 3 of the Chow family members to reach yellow level. So other than the blood coral, Yi friend can bring up any other requests. Yimo didn't expect Chow Zheng to talk like this. He didn't even say anything yet, but he immediately replied, Mr. Chow, this blood coral is very useful to me. If the Chow family only need fortune to enter the yellow level, I can help with that. I can provide the pills for 5 Chow family members to reach yellow level and 1 to reach black level. I will use all those to trade for this blood coral. Blasphemy. A cold voice sounded. Chow Gang immediately stood up. Chow Jijun. What's the meaning of this? If your brother says he can, then he can. Chow Shengbao sneered and reproached to Chow Jijun. Zijin, Yimo is an honored guest of our Chow family. Don't be disrespectful. Then, he turned to Yimo and said, sorry? Blood coral is too important to our Chow family. We can't agree to your request. This is a card to show our gratitude. When he took out the card, Chow Shengbao sneered. This Yimo was really full of shit. He dared to think of such an easy way to trick the Chow family's blood coral. Stop dreaming. Taking out pills to reach yellow and black level, he probably thought the whole world was as dumb as him. Yimo frowned and said faintly, so you mean you don't believe that I can take out those pills? Chow Zheng also frowned. They had dropped a broad hint and Yimo still said something like that. It was crossing the line. Taking out a pill for martial artists to ascend, what a joke. No one would believe Yimo could bring out such a thing. Did he think this was some sort of cultivation world, such arrogance? As expected, Chow Shengbao said, Mr. E, you helped our Chow family. We all know you used a lot of efforts and our family is very grateful. There's 5 million on this card, but to be honest, if it wasn't for the blood coral, we wouldn't even go to the race. As for your trade-off for the blood coral, we all know what it means, so no need to. In that case, never mind. Emo isn't someone who hadn't seen money before. I don't care about a mere few millions. Then Emo took the card and ripped it to pieces. Only a few millions, were they giving money to a beggar? He treated Guatiming's illness, and in return what he got paid, not mention the map, only the purple coral was worth at least 1 billion. Now, he helped the Chow family win the blood coral, but they only took out a few millions. This Chow family was really stingy. The 4 customized cars Chow family used were worth at least 10 million. He helped the Chow family win, but they only took out 5 million. To be honest, Emo didn't even know what the Chow family was thinking. If they took our 20 or 30 million, then he would take it. He rubbed the card and stood up saying to Tang Beiwei, "Beiwei, let's go." The Chow family was not only not grateful to him but also treated him like a liar, giving him only 5 million. This made Emo quite uncomfortable. Until seeing Emo and Tang Beiwei disappear from the living room, the people of the Chow family finally reacted. Humph, he's not polite at all, he was a hilly-billy indeed. They gave him money and he was still acting up. A mere few million? He acted as though he was very rich. Was 5 million too less for helping with a race? Such greed, and he even wanted our blood coral. Keep dreaming, so shameless. Even if he didn't go, our Chow family could still win. Chow Jijun immediately sneered. Chow Zheng's face was bad. This Emo was too impolite and didn't even take the Chow family seriously. Giving 5 million was his decision, and this was because he was Emo. He originally planned to only give 3 million. Chow Zheng wanted to get angry, but thinking about the Song family, he sunk his anger back into his stomach. In his view, Chow Gang's car skills were the best in the 4 families. Even if they didn't invite Emo and invited another international racer, this race would be fine. And if they invited an international racer, the price would only be a few millions. Big brother, these Chow family are really clueless. You're giving them more pills, but they're blind. But why didn't you take the money? That was hard-earned. Why not take it? Tang Beiwei was also unhappy that her brother didn't get the blood coral. Emo smiled. The Chow family was asking for trouble. Even if the blood coral can allow people to reach yellow level, it wouldn't have anything to do with them if they don't have the ability to protect it and let the Chow family take it from them. Even if the other families got it, trouble would still occur. If they don't have the ability, don't try to eat such a big meal. As for money, a few millions, do they think I've never seen money before? I helped Guatiming treat his illness. The stone he gave me was more than 1 billion. Tang Beiwei asked confused, "Brother, why would the Cha family be fine if they go it?" Emo said, "Cha family is a semi-hidden family. If they get something, they would store it securely. Now that the Chow family got it and the Cha family lost 2 racers, there's no way they wouldn't leak this information to the hidden sect people. However, I will finish the business with Cha family, but just not now." Emo thought of Zhuaigua and Xiaozheng. Before, Zhuaigua felt that the purple heart vine was useful to Emo and gave it to him without hesitation, and at that time, Emo didn't show his abilities at all. The results showed that Zhuaigua was right and he was compensated more. Compared to Zhuaigua, Chow Zheng was too short-sighted. Brother, wait for me." Chow Gang ran here breathing heavily. After catching up to Emo, he said, "Sorry, brother. I'm really sorry about this. Grandpa and the others don't believe you. I really." Emo waved his hand and said, "Young Master Chow, it's already over. No need to talk about it. Plus, you can see it as me helping you, don't worry about the other things. But I need to remind you that although the blood coral is useful to me, I'm also asking for it for the benefit of your family. It's no good for you family holding the blood coral." Chow Gang dazed and said stutteringly, Brother, you're going to attack our family?" Emo smiled. "Young Master Chow, you think too little of me. Emo, I'm not concerned about a mere blood coral. Plus, even if I ate a pill that would make me a god, I still have my principle of doing things. Just looking at our connection, I wouldn't attack the Chow family. However, Just because I won't do something doesn't mean other people won't. I suggest you go out and hide for a while. Yi brother, if you don't attack, our Chao family is at least a big family. Under the current society, can someone come into our house and rob us? Chao Gang asked confused. Emo shook his head. There are too much things you don't understand. That Cha family is a semi-hidden family. They can contact the hidden sex directly. If your Chao family don't even know about the hidden sex, then pretend I never said anything. I've already given you a reminder. How you deal with it is your family's business. Thank you, Yi brother. Other people don't know about your abilities, but I definitely believe you. But my grandpa doesn't believe me. Sigh. Chao Gang said helplessly. It's fine, by the way. Do you know where the blood coral was found? Emo asked casually. Chao Gang didn't hide anything about this and said, at a place near the borders. There's a place called the Horn Strait. It's near the Southern Sea. At that time, I went with a few friends from the other families to go race there and found this blood coral washed up on the beach. Okay. Thank you, we'll meet in time. Then Emo waved goodbye to Chao Gang and took Tang Bei Wei and left the Chao family. After a long time of silence, Chao Gang went back to the Chao family and decided to tell what Emo said to Grandpa. Blasphemy. As soon as he heard Chao Gang's words, Chao Zhang slammed the table and stared at Chao Gang and said, although this Emo isn't bad, he's too stingy. You should have less contact with him. This is a peaceful time. Do you think it's warring era? You believe robbery of homes. I think you're out of your mind. Jijun is performing better than you in many places, and you need to stay in the family and get some rest. Chao Gang didn't expect that his grandpa would reproach him, but grandpa's words also seemed reasonable. He turned around and immediately saw Chao Jijun's evil smile. He immediately felt angry but also knew his grandpa's authority and didn't dare to argue. Brother, are we going to Beijing now? Tang Bei Wei wanted to see her mother. Emo sighed. Going to Beijing meant he had to kill people. Killing people would make Tang Bei Wei's mother sad. This was quite complicated. Thinking about this, Emo could only say, let's go to Ninghai and see Xianxia first. After going to Ninghai, we'll go to Beijing. Tang Bei Wei didn't ask why, but she could tell Emo wasn't in a good mood. After a while, she said, is Xianxia's sister my sister-in-law? By the way, brother, do you like Xianxia's sister or Luoying's sister? Although Tang Bei Wei had seen neither of them, Emo told her about them. Emo dazed. Although he never hid anything about Luoying and Xianxia, he really didn't know how to answer this question now that he was being put on the spot. To be honest, I feel that brother you're so excellent it's fine even if you have 2 wives. Tang Bei Wei realized Yemo's hardship and said. Emo felt his chin helplessly. I think I like them both, but you're my sister. You would want me to get as much wives as possible. In other words, would you want to marry someone who will get 2 wives? Sigh. Emo didn't even get to tell Luoying about Xianxia before Luoying left. Although he had the thought of what Tang Bei Wei suggested, this wasn't something he could decide. Xianxia was fine after all. Last time, she had already expressed she didn't mind being with Luoying. But what about Luoying? Emo had no confidence at all. If that person had as much ability as brother, then I don't mind. Tang Bei Wei said immediately, but in her heart, of course she cared. She just wanted to comfort her brother. Although he didn't notice that Tang Bei Wei was trying to comfort him, Emo felt that love was irrelevant to power. Did that mean someone with great power could have lots of love? This reasoning was too absurd. His love for Luoying was really love from life to death. There was nothing in it. As for Ning Xianxia, although Emo had no feelings for her originally, the things Ning Qingshu did for him gradually made him like this girl. If it was just gratitude, Emo wouldn't fall in love with Ning Qingshu, but those few days the two were together, Emo had changed his opinion of Ning Qingshu and accepted her slowly at the same time. Although his love for Ning Qingshu was different to his love for Luoying, they both came from the bottom of his heart and there was nothing else inside. When Emo brought Tang Bei Wei to Ninghai, it was already midday on the second day. Before they reached the small yard, Emo felt something was wrong. Ning Qingshu said she was waiting for him here and he believed her. However, Ning Qingshu actually wasn't in this yard. Emo and Tang Bei Wei pushed open the door. The flower pots were still there, but the silver heartgrasses were all dead except for one. He got someone to send them back here for Ning Qingxue to look after. The only one alive was also quite wilted. That one was the one Ning Qingxue looked after and spilt her blood on. What was going on? Emo wanted to ask Su Wei but found out that Su Wei also wasn't here. However, there were still Su Wei's clothes hanging out in the garden. It seemed that Su Wei hadn't left yet. Brother, is Qingshua's sister not here? Tang Beiwei also felt something wasn't right and subconsciously asked. Emo shook his head. He didn't know why Ning Qingxue wasn't here, but her firm words from before were still by his ears. I will wait for you at Ninghai. Although it was a few plain words, Emo believed Ning Qingxue said what she wanted. Before she waited till his arrival, she wouldn't leave. For this, Emo didn't doubt it at all, but now, Ning Qingxue wasn't here. Emo carefully checked the silver heartgrass that hadn't died but found it wasn't due to lack of care. What was this? Su Wei just pushed the door open and saw Emo standing by the flower pot. When she saw Tang Beiwei, she couldn't help to sigh. Emo was really a womanizer. Not only did he know a lot of women, but none of them was ugly. She was probably the uglier one, or perhaps she could only compare with Li Mume. Su Wei, you're back? Where's Qingxue? The first thing Emo asked seeing Su Wei was about Ning Qingxue. Su Wei's eyes went red and immediately told everything that had happened to Emo. Then she said, after Qingxue had recovered, she was taken to Yu State by her family and never came back. But after Qingxue left, no matter how I took care of these silver heartgrasses, they were wilted and many had died. Only that tallest one is barely living. Ning Qingshu was actually almost beaten to death. Emo's fury immediately erupted. Who had such balls? It seemed he was too kind. Last time the Song family attacked Ning Qingxue, he hadn't even had time to annihilate the Song family, but now, other people were also attacking Ning Qingxue. A strong killing intent emanated from Emo's body. Even Su Wei and Tang Beiwei on the side took steps back subconsciously. Tang Beiwei looked at Emo's bloodshot eyes and called out anxiously, "Brother!" Emo came to his senses and howled to the sky. Regardless if it's Earth Fiend or others who hurt Ning Qingxue, I, Emo, swear I will annihilate you in my life. From Emo's perspective, Earth Fiend had the greatest suspicion. He just had enmity with this organization and this thing happened. He couldn't tolerate it. Not right. Even if this happened, Qingxue wouldn't leave Ninghai after she had recovered. Emo knew Ning Qingxue. She wouldn't give up waiting for him in Ninghai for that. Su Wei, you said Qingxue's wounds have recovered and she left Ninghai? Emo calmed down and immediately realized that was suspicious. Xu Wei was quite scared by Emo and now just slowly recovered. Then, she said, yes, her wounds had fully healed. But what? Emo frowned and asked. Su Wei looked carefully at Emo and said, because her head was injured, although she had completely recovered, she forgot what had happened this year. It means that memories recovered to the point 1 year ago. She didn't even know me, but she remembered everything clearly from 1 year ago, and... Hearing this, Emo's heart sunk. However, he believed he could cure her. Although head injuries couldn't even necessarily be healed with Lotus Life Seed, it wasn't a serious problem. Even if he couldn't, he would just tell her what had happened in this year. After all, she just lost some memories. And what? Thinking about this, Emo felt a little relieved. Su Wei sighed and said, Qingxue lost this year's memory, but her parents were instead happy. She went back to Yu State listening to her parents. Qingxue's sister didn't mention you at all, and her parents didn't allow anyone to mention you. Hearing this, Emo's heart ached. If her parents really didn't like him, even if he went to Yu State, he won't necessarily be able to see Qingxue. He thought about Ning Qingxue venturing dangerously into the Shenongjia just to find him, and he yearned for her more. That was when he knew that he was this important in Ning Qingxue's heart. No, he had to go see her. Even if her parents stopped him, he would go see her. Sorry, Qingshu, it was my fault you were hurt this time. As though feeling the intense emotions in her brother's heart, Tang Beiwei subconsciously grabbed her brother's hands and called, Brother. Emo sighed and caressed the silver heartgrass that Ning Qingxue took care of. Softness surged in his heart. That silver heart grass seemed to have felt Yemo's caress and seemed a little more lively. Xu Wei and Tang Bu didn't interrupt Yemo, who had sunk into memories. They just looked at him, fearing that he would do something crazy. After long, Yemo looked up and asked, Su Wei, what did the attacker look like? Xu Wei immediately said, it was a young Taoist at first, and then came an old Taoist. That young Taoist was very lecherous and said he was going to take Xianxia away. Xianxia ignored him and he attacked. That young Taoist had a shield-shaped jade ornament on his belt, and it seemed to have the words Tai Yi. Tai Yi, Yemo repeated and frowned. Was it a hidden sect? It was very rare for people from the hidden sect to come to the cities of the mortal world, but it didn't matter. He would go ask Zhang Zhihui. Su Wei, I will go see Xianxia. Please help me take care of this silver heart grass for a while. Yemo looked at the bloodied silver heart grass and felt his uneasiness in his chest. He was going to slaughter, challenging him again and again. It was either his sister or the people around him. Su Wei rolled her eyes on Yemo. I know. I'm going to charge a salary next time. You two only know to let me take care of this and that. Su Wei heard Tang Beiwei call Yemo brother, and immediately knew this pretty girl was Yemo's sister and not lover. However, her skin was really good. Yemo went back to the room. It was tidied very well. The small case he left to Ning Xianxia was carefully put on the head of the bed. Even the tools he used to produce pills were wiped clean, placed on a small metal rack. It was obvious that Ning Xianxia cared a lot about Yemo's things. Yemo sat on the bed Ning Xianxia slept on. There were a few books about transplants. Yemo dazed. He seemed to see Ning Xianxia sit on the bed and read these books every night and then wait for him to come back. Xianxia, no matter who attacked you, I won't let them go. Yemo murmured. He suddenly felt he was all alone by himself. If he had a power faction, he wouldn't need to send Beiwei away or even worry about the safety of the people around him. Power, power, I will establish the greatest power on earth. Since I can't cultivate to a high state here, I will use my power to create the greatest power. I want something that can disintegrate Earth Fiend with one word. In that instance, Yemo had the impulse to howl to the heavens again. Beiwei, I will send you to a place. After I'm done with the things outside, I will come back to pick you up. Yemo calmed down and said, once he made up his mind, he wouldn't change it. It was as he said, no matter who it was, they would have to pay. After these things were done, he would form his own power. Tang Beiwei knew what her brother thought and knew she was only a burden following him around now. Wuliang Mountain. It wasn't their first time here. Although Tang Beiwei knew that her brother would take her to someplace safe, but she didn't expect him to take her here. Yemo carried Tang Beiwei on his back and ran very rapidly on the mountain. He was going to start to fight with Earth Fiend soon. He must have no concerns, so he needed to send Tang Beiwei away. Serenity was the best choice. Beiwei, after you arrive at Serenity, remember to cultivate what I taught you. If you really can't cultivate it, you can learn with Jing Xian and their stuff, but remember not to tell anyone what I taught you. Yemo said. Tang Beiwei felt very warm at heart. This was kinship. Her brother really gave her everything he had. She made up her mind in her heart. Brother, don't worry. I will work here and try to not be cumbersome to you. Tang Beiwei really did make up her mind. If she had her brother's powers today, she wouldn't need to hide everywhere and could even help her brother. Pack those fireball charms away carefully. Don't take them out unless it's a life or death situation. Yemo was worried about Tang Beiwei's safety and gave her more than 100 fireball charms. These fireball's charms weren't so useful to Yemo. Although they were good to use, but it cost too much time to use them and their power to Yemo was just so-so. It could be used against Earth-level martial artists, but it was barely life-threatening for tertiary stage Earth levels. It really didn't have much use, but it was good for self-defense for Tang Beiwei. Brother, I didn't think there would be people living here. Although Tang Beiwei was on Yemo's back, she was quite scared when Yemo jumped off the cliff. When she saw the road, she was more astonished. Yemo nodded and said, those sects don't like the boisterous mortal world, and these sort of places are more suited for cultivation. Was what you taught me that day also ancient martial arts? How come there weren't any martial arts moves? Tang Beiwei asked curiously. Emo said seriously, "What I taught you wasn't ancient martial arts but something thousands of times more precious than it. You mustn't show it in front of others or tell anyone." As Emo introduced, Tang Beiwei gradually knew a little more about the hidden sections. The two talked as they walked and had arrived at Serenity. Although the sect master didn't say it, she was quite grateful to Emo. If Emo didn't remove Jing Shi, she wouldn't even be able to control Serenity. After Emo killed Jing Shi, Serenity was no longer flailing like before. No matter what Jing Xian thought, she would have never expected Emo to come to Serenity a second time and bring a very beautiful girl. "Grand Jing Xian, this is my sister Tang Beiwei. Because I still have some businesses unresolved, I want to let me sister stay at your place for some time." Emo had a request and didn't dare to be rude in front of Jing Xian. Jing Xian looked at Tang Beiwei in surprise and then said, "Mr. Yi, this is the sister you said you've lost for more than 20 years. Emo bowed and said, "Yes, my sister will live here for a while. When I come next time, there will be repayment." Jing Xian sighed, "Since it's your sister, then no need to talk about repayment. It's just a pity on Susu. If only you brought her here earlier." Emo's heart was melancholic. He understood what Jing Xian meant. He left his sister at Serenity also because he wanted to wait for Luoying to come back. After all that, the first thing Emo did was to go to Yu State. He was going to see Ning Qingxue. No matter if he could cure her or not, he would still go. Ning Qingshue's father Ning Zhongfei was quite decisive and left the Ning family resolutely for Ning Qingxue. With his strong connections and capable business mind, he established a new pharmaceutical company in the short span of a year. In Yu State, Ning family was a wealthy family. As soon as Emo got to Yu State, he didn't spend much time to know that not only did Ning Qingxue recover physically but was being the manager of Ning Zhongfei's business. The business was at the tallest skyscraper building at Yu State, and it was very easy for Emo to find it. The building didn't belong to Ning Zhongfei yet, and his company only rented 2 levels of the building. Emo didn't receive much questioning and went upstairs. However, the girl in reception stopped Emo. "Sir, may I ask who you're looking for?" The girl was quite pretty and very polite. "I'm looking for Ning Qingxue. May I ask, is she here?" Thinking about how he was about to meet Ning Qingxue, Emo was a bit excited. He didn't know if the exact situation was as what Suwei said, but if it really was, then what would he do if he couldn't cure her? The girl showed a professional smile but didn't call and ask for permission. She asked again politely, "Sir, did you make an appointment?" "No." Emo shook his head subconsciously. He never thought that he wouldn't be able to see Ning Qingxue. The front desk girl smiled apologetically. "Then I'm sorry, sir. I can't report in clients without appointments." The front desk girl's sweet smile made Emo unable to get angry, but he didn't have a way to make the girl report in. Just when he was wondering if he should use invisibility to go in and see Ning Qingxue, there was a clanking of high heels on the ground. CEO Lan, Manager Li. The girl saw the two and greeted politely. Emo turned around and saw someone familiar. It was Li Mumei. He was happy immediately and quickly said, "Li Mumei. I'm Emo. I came to see Ning Qingxue this time." Emo stopped his words. He felt the atmosphere wasn't right, and Li Mumei's looks at him seemed a little weird, as though she wanted to say something. Meanwhile, the woman beside Li Mumei frowned. "CEO Lan? Was it Ning Qingxue's mother Lan Yu?" This meant that this CEO Lan was his future mother-in-law. Emo felt a little awkward and walked up and said, "Hello, Auntie. I'm Emo. I came to see Qingxue." The woman still frowned, but Emo said that already, so she could only reply, "Do you know me? I've heard Qingxue mention you. I believe you're Qingxue's mother, right?" Emo didn't dare to be careless in front of Qingxue's mother. Seeing Li Mumei wanting to say something and Lan Yu frowning, Emo felt things weren't right and the scene sunk into silence. After a long while, Lan Yu said, "Since you're Emo, come in and let's have a talk, Sai." Then, Lan Yu walked in and Li Mumei gave Emo a sympathetic look and also followed in. Emo followed the two into the office helplessly. Li Mumei went and made 2 cups of tea and then left, closing the door. "Emo, I know you're someone with power, but..." Lan Yu paused as though trying to organize her words and said after a while, Xianxia is my only daughter, and she is my treasure. Her dad and I won't be able to tolerate any harm to her. We work so hard just for Xianxia's future. Emo sighed and said, Auntie, don't beat about the bush. Although I'm emotional, I have done things that I won't regret. I like Xianxia, but I'm not liking her for her wealth. Lan Yu nodded and said, In that case, I'll be straightforward. Of course I know you won't care about the little wealth our Ning family has, but we care about our daughter. Ever since Xianxia knew you, she's been heavily injured twice. We almost lost our daughter. This was all because of you. This time, Xianxia was rammed by a car and sent to the hospital. She was announced dead, but perhaps the heavens pitied us and Xianxia actually came back alive the second day. Speaking to hear, Lan Yu rubbed her eyes. Emo saw this inside. He didn't blame Lan Yu. He only had respect for a mother like this, and he knew why Xianxia would come back alive. It was because she only fainted on the spot. This was all due to the necklace he made for her. It was made from precious materials and inscribed with many formations. Although spirit chi would be consumed while used for defense, after a while it would replenish. Xianxia could wake the second day because after replenishment, the necklace recovered her life force. Looking at Emo, who was in silence, Lan Yu said again, Ever since Xianxia met you, not only did she not want to come back to you state and always stayed at Ninghai, it was also said that she went to Flowing Snake and the desert once all by herself. After 2 near-death experiences, her dad and I can no longer handle this. This time when Xianxia woke up, the heavens pitied us and she actually lost a year of memory. Her memory is at the time before she met you. So, Emo, please, we beg you, let her live a peaceful life. Then, Lan Yu looked hopefully at Emo. She wanted Emo to take pity on the heart of parents and not get close to her daughter again. She didn't know that Ning Xianxia also went to Xianxia. Otherwise, she would be even more concerned. Emo really wanted to fulfill Lan Yu's love for her daughter, but he couldn't. Not only did Ning Xianxia love him, but he also loved Ning Xianxia. He had no hesitation and shook his head slowly. Emo, why are you doing this? We beg you, let our Xianxia go. Then, Lan Yu actually knelt down. Emo was dazed. He didn't expect Lan Yu to do this. At that moment, he felt his heart ache as though something precious was going to leave him. Mom, you? The office door was opened and Ning Xianxia in a pale yellow dress stood at the door like a goddess. She looked dazedly at Lan Yu, who knelt on the ground, and then moved her gaze upon Emo. But soon, she reacted and rushed over to help Lan Yu up. She turned around with a face of anger and looked at Emo and asked, Who are you? What do you want? Emo opened his mouth but couldn't say a word. If Lan Yu telling him to leave Ning Xianxia made his heart ache, then Ning Xianxia's words now made his heart bleed. He knew that Ning Xianxia lost a years of memory, but his heart suddenly felt empty. That emptiness he could no accept. Xianxia, I'm Emo. I know. He was interrupted by Ning Qingshu before he finished. She frowned and said, Emo, the engagement was determined by our previous generation. You are you and I am I. Why are you coming for me? I don't want you to come to my parents. But Xianxia, did you not know you lost a year's memory? Emo said desperately. Ning Qingshua's eyes frowned more and looked at Emo with disgust. Xianxia isn't something you can call. I know you're the young master of the Yi family, but that has nothing to do with me. Plus, I lost my memory, but what's that got to do with you? Is there any use for you to force my mother? Please leave. Lan Yu heard Ning Qingshua's words and turned around saying apologetically to Emo. You can chat with Xianxia for a while, but don't force her to do something she doesn't want. I don't want my daughter to be coerced. I'll go out first. Then, Lan Yu walked out of the office. She really didn't want Emo to have contact with Ning Qingshu, but if she didn't give Ning Qingshu this chance, she would feel very uncomfortable and feel sorry to Qingshu. Qingshu, the memory you have lost is the memory with me this year. I want to help you see if you can be treated and recover your lost memory. Emo said softly. Ning Qingshu already had some slight anger on her face. She didn't understand why her mother would let her face Emo alone. She had memories with this human trash? Keep dreaming. EMO. I know you have been kicked out of the Yi family and you feel very bad, but I'm telling you now. My dad also separated from the Ning family in Beijing. We have no connections at all. What era is it now? Stop holding the worlds of our grandpas. I feel this is really pointless. Ning Qingxue said disgustedly. As though seeing Yimo's face was looking bad. Ning Qingxue sneered and continued, Young Master Yi, I have memories with you? Do you think this is possible? Plus, even if I do have some memories with you, I don't want to recover them. I don't want anything to do with you. Okay? Yimo's face became pale, but he still didn't blame Ning Qingxue. He knew that a year before, Ning Qingxue detested him to the greatest extent. Qingxue, if you believe me, let me treat you. If you have recovered your memories, I think you will understand. Emo stood up and walked forward a few steps. Ning Qingxue immediately took a few steps back and said, Don't come over. If you do, I will call the police. And I don't need you to treat me, and I don't trust you either. I know very well what sort of person you are. I don't need my memories to understand you. Qingxue, but you made me love you. You said you will wait for me to come back. Why are things like this? Emo's face became increasingly pale. He had never experienced love and had never felt what it was like for the person he loved to leave him. Ning Qingxue looked coldly at Emo. After hearing him out, she then said, Emo, don't be mushy. You have finished what you needed to say. Now you can go. I know that the 1 year I was with you and you like me. Is that fine? Oh, and that year I also fell in love with you. Okay. I know it all, now can you please leave? So this is what losing feels like. Emo murmured, his body was wobbly. He was emotional and never would have thought the one he loved would leave him. Luoying left him due to misunderstanding, but Ning Nixu didn't even want to listen to him, nor let him touch her. He didn't want to force her. Plus, even if he treated her, he might not be able to get her memories back. He had this burning sensation in his heart that made him hard to breathe. Why were things like this? Why? After a long while, Emo took out a face-preserving pill and a few golden needles and said, I brought this face-preserving pill over just for you and I want to help you see if you can recover your memories. Ning Qingshua's face was frost-like and she said coldly, Treatment is unnecessary, and face-preserving pill? Okay, I'll eat it. Ning Qingxue took the pill and ate it. Then, she said, Emo, I've eaten the pill. Go, I beg you. Don't try these tricks on me. Emo felt more and more depressed. He picked up the golden needle and still wanted to say something, but Ning Qingshu immediately said, Piss off, PSH. Emo finally couldn't hold the despair and pain in his heart and spat out a mouth of blood on the office desk. After spitting out the blood, he actually felt more relived. His mental state reached a new level. Since she wasn't his, why force it? At that moment, he seemed to have opened up and understood a lot and wanted to howl. This was the frustration of recently being hunted, Luoying and Beiwei's things. With the thing with Ning Qingxue, it made his heart feel clumped. After spitting out the clotting blood, he felt very relieved and felt if he had any spirit grass now, he could immediately reach stage for chi gathering. Emo sighed. The Buddha says, Everything is so due to fate, starting from the begging to the end of fate. Everything is so. Perhaps he could keep that love in his heart and treat it as past memories, no longer necessary to flip out again. Perhaps this was what it meant to be positive. Emo's mental state calmed down and packed away the golden needles, returning to his original composure. Ning Qingxue saw the blood stain and actually felt pain in her heart. But this feeling was very strange. She could only draw the conclusion that this Emo was immature. She never said she had any relationship with Emo and she would never marry such a human trash. Lan Yu pushed the door open and rushed in. She saw the blood on the table and immediately said aggressively to Emo, Emo, can we drop this? Leave, never come back to our Ning family. She thought Emo made her daughter spew blood and couldn't keep calm. I'm standing at your Ning family's place. Emo was calm and his tone was very bland. He actually wasn't very angry. He didn't blame Lan Yu nor Ning Qingshu. They had their lives and so did he. That's right where you're standing. Leave immediately. Even the patch outside the front door belongs to us. Our family doesn't welcome you. Lan Yu was worried about her daughter and wasn't going to be polite with Emo anymore. She even sounded a little childish. Emo smiled calmly. Oh, does the sky outside also belong to your family? Then, Emo no longer wanted to say anything. Before Lan Yu replied, he took a step outside the window and disappeared. Lan Yu and Ning Qingxue dazed for a good few seconds before coming to their senses. Emo actually couldn't handle the trauma and jumped off the building. Although Ning Qingxue looked down on Emo, she was still very worried about Emo jumping off. This was the 8th floor. He wouldn't be alive after jumping off. She rushed over to the windows and looked down. There was no trace of him. Mom, don't call yet. Lan Yu was stumbling to call the police, but was stopped by Ning Qingxue. What's wrong, Qingxue? Lan Yu calmed down. Ning Qingxue breathed easy and looked down before saying, he's quite capable. There's no trace of him at the bottom, and he probably climbed down the pipes and left. Qingxue, did you spit the blood here? Lan Yu finally reacted now. Ning Qingxue shook her head. No, it's Emo. He probably had some sort of trauma, Sai. He's quite pitiful actually. Abandoned by the Yi family, but still not unenterprising. Ha! Lan Yu stared straight at the bloodstain. Ning Qingxue didn't know, but she knew all too well. Suddenly, she felt that she did this thing very wrongly. After long, Lan Yu sighed. Let the past be. Qingxue had her own life and Emo had his new life. Qingxue didn't remember the days with Emo, and that was why she felt Emo was pitiful. But Lan Yu was all too clear about Emo's power in Beijing. Mom, my heart is aching. I want to go back and rest for a few days. Ning Qingxue felt her heart pulsing with pain. She had never had such connivity. What's happening today? Lan Yu had a sliver of worry flash across her eyes and quickly replied, okay. Let Mume rest with you for a few days. Don't worry about the company. There's your dad and I here. After Emo left you state, his mood was down but his mental state broke through again. Now he had dropped the sadness. Pursuing cultivation and long life was his path. He was to go to the Song family next and finish things up. Then he would immediately try to go for stage 4. After he was stage 4, it would be time for him to get revenge against Earth Fiend and time when he established his own power. No matter for himself or the people around him, he needed a strong power to provide protection. His cultivation also required large amounts of money. With money, he could make all sorts of pills and make money faster. However, with more money, he also needed power to protect it. Before going to Beijing, Emo stopped by Ninghai to look at that silver heartgrass. It seemed to have gained some life force. Su Wei hadn't finished work yet, and he didn't wait for her. Su Wei was very meticulous. She would do well what she promised. Next time when he came back, he wouldn't mind giving her a face-preserving pill. As for Yunbing, Emo didn't go to see her. He was originally planning to go to the university and ask about Xianxia, but he had already graduated, and if he were to go to ask about him in Ninghai University, perhaps he would see Yunbing. Ever since the issue with Ning Qingxue, Emo's heart had been rejective of staying alone with women. Beijing Song family. Contrary to Song Yuani and Song Qiming's expectation, the incident at Wuliang Mountain had been past a few months, and now, Emo still came to Song family to look for trouble. Did they think wrong? If Emo really didn't dare to come to the Song family, should they get the Song family people to come back to Beijing? Perhaps Emo didn't know the identity of Song Hai and them. The Song family didn't have the power to face off with Emo, so they could only resist for now. Now, the Song family mansion was not near as busy and populated as before. Other than Song Yuani and Song Qiming, there was only Song Qishan. There were originally some third-generation people here, but after Song Hai disappeared, these people were sent away by Song Qiming. Tang Jing felt really fortunate reciprocally. Although Song Qiming wronged her before due to some reasons, he still never forgot about her. Before she died, he came and found her and gave her the warmness and love she had longed for many years. Although before, all she had in her heart was hatred for Song Qiming. Seeing Song Qiming kneel down before her and beg for her forgiveness, her heart had already forgiven him. It didn't matter that she suffered so much all these years. At least Qiming came back. Although Beiwei didn't want to come with her to Beijing, Qiming said that he wouldn't let anything happen to Beiwei. Tang Jing had no doubt of Song Qiming's words. Although she still didn't go do surgery, her body was recovering gradually. Her face even looked healthier. Thinking that Song Qiming was with her every day, she felt this joy at the bottom of her heart. Her years of longing and hope finally had a resolution she wanted. She didn't mind if Song Qiming was rich or powerful. In her heart, she only wanted to be with him, and that would be the greatest joy of life. Sometimes, Qiming would even sit with her for an entire night without any requests. He just sat with her like those years ago. Tang Jing knew that Qiming wouldn't come today because he said he had a lot of work and would come back late. So, she made him some lotus soup. She didn't want him to work too hard. She still had a surprise for Qiming. It was that she could walk now. Song Qiming's office usually didn't allow others to come in. But he told her that others didn't include her. No one could replace her in his mind. He missed her for 20 years and didn't want to spend the rest of his life regretting. So, Tang Jing didn't mind that Song Qiming's office didn't allow others to come in. And now, there was barely anyone in the Song family mansion, so no one cared about this. What made Tang Jing disappointed was that when she came to Song Qiming's place, she noticed the second floor's lights were off. That meant that Song Qiming hadn't come back yet. There was the sound of car rumble that drove into the room. The car didn't stop at the outer garden but drove straight in. Tang Jing knew that Song Qiming came back. Her heart rejoiced and wanted to bring the lotus soup over, but she saw two people get off the car and stopped herself in her tracks. Song Qiming got out, but there was also another young girl. The two seemed quite intimate, and the girl was holding Song Qiming's arms. Didn't he tell her that he was divorced? And even if he didn't, this woman was not much older than Beiwei. Tang Jing suddenly felt her hands shaky. She didn't mind Song Qiming bringing back a girl, but she cared that Song Qiming lied to her. Song Qiming and that girl had walked under the office and were hugged together. There was the sound of hookup and seductive moans. Tang Jing didn't believe this was the Song Qiming who stayed with her every night before. She was deeply disappointed but didn't hate Song Qiming. Perhaps her body wasn't well and she couldn't stay with him. That's why he was acting like this. Let's go upstairs. Song Qiming finally gasped and squished the girl's boobs and said, Eminachim, is that old woman still in the house? She's really annoying. The woman's voice sounded very sulky and was obviously unhappy. Song Qiming sighed. I have no choice. Our Song family is being threatened too much by that Emo. She's Tang Beiwei's mother. I took her over just so that Emo would have some concern. Originally, I thought that according to Yemo's personality, he might quite possibly not do anything to the Song family due to Tang Beiwei's mother, but I think we've thought too much. He's by himself and he doesn't dare to do anything to the Song family no matter how strong he is. As for Tang Jing, let her be. Our Song family can still afford to feed a useless person. The woman gasped into laughter. Treating your old lover like a dog to feed. What old lover? Don't disgust me. Perhaps I would be interested in her 20 years ago, but now, it's the hardest time of my life each night I talk to her. Sai, don't worry about her. I just didn't expect her daughter to be Yemo's sister. She's really lucky. Otherwise, why would I even care about her? Song Qiming seemed to have thought of Tang Jing's looks and frowned. That woman laughed again. I heard that Tang Beiwei is a real beauty. You must be interested in her. How come you don't seem yourself when you talk about her? Song Qiming smiled. Pity. She's Yemo's sister. Our Song family shouldn't mess with him anymore. Be gentle. I know you're interested in that girl. You even dare to fuck me. The woman called and then, her mouth seemed to be blocked by something. After a long while, she gasped and said, Of course I wouldn't mind about that Tang Jing. Who I care about is the tigress of your family. To be honest, I still need to thank that Emo. If it wasn't for him, how could you send away that tigress? How do we dare to do this here? She only spoke half the sentence and her mouth seemed to have been blocked by something. At the corner, Tang Jing's hands and feet went cold. The bowl of lotus soup fell on the grass, but she didn't seem to notice at all. The person who asked for forgiveness in front of her was this sort of person. She suddenly felt that all the power of her body was going to leave her. Emo sighed. He originally came here to kill the Song family people, but he saw this scene. He couldn't help but to feel sad for Tang Beiwei's mother, falling in love with such a man. Did she really not know what Song Qiming really was like? Did she really believe everything Song Qiming said? Emo didn't believe it. Tang Jing was just cheating herself. Perhaps she knew she didn't have long to live, so she wanted to die with happiness, not a life of losing hope. Sometimes there is no reason for love. Emo thought of Luo Ying. Would his love for her change because of anything else? He believed that Luo Ying wouldn't betray him, but if she did? Emo asked himself and found that he would still like her just like how he loved Ning Qingxue. Ning Qingxue was so indifferent to him, but he didn't blame her, nor did he resent her. He just enveloped that love and left it untouched. Perhaps this was what Tang Jing was like to Song Qiming. Even though she knew that Song Qiming was tricking her, she would still rather cheat herself, but now, she could no longer do that. Emo believed that she must have regretted coming out to see this scene and hearing those words. Emo saw Song Qiming carry that girl, and the two rustled upstairs. Meanwhile, Tang Jing spat out a mouthful of blood after a long while. Then, she stood up slowly. She actually looked at Song Qiming wistfully before leaving. Looking at Tang Jing's weak body like a small leaf in the frosty wind, Emo actually felt uncomfortable. Why did she have to love such a man? But he couldn't help her at all, and he knew that if he killed Song Qiming today and Tang Jing knew tomorrow, she will be very sad. However, even so, he would still kill Song Qiming. From today on, he wouldn't let himself into trouble due to being soft on his enemies. He had to kill Song Qiming. However, after things here were done, he would take Tang Jing to live with Tang Beiwei. The light beside the bedroom lit up. Song Qiming and that girl were already rolling together. That girl's clothes were completely ripped apart, revealing two busty white rabbits. Song Qiming's two hands already started rubbing and squishing. At the same time, he was also trying to take off the clothes on himself. That woman seemed thirstier than Song Qiming and had flipped on top of Song Qiming more than once. Emo respected Song Qiming's stamina. He was in his 50s to 60s, but he still had so much energy. Emo raised his hand and a gust of wind shot out. That voracious woman was knocked out cold on the bed. Song Qiming didn't even notice it at all until the woman stopped moving. "Xiao Yu." Song Qiming called out worriedly. "You don't need to call. I've already knocked her out." Emo's cold voice sounded. Song Qiming's body shook and suddenly turned around. Under the dim yellow light, Emo's figure stood by the doorway. Song Qiming was covered in cold sweat. After a long while, he asked, Who are you?" "I'm getting some payback," Emo said, and a curved sword suddenly appeared in his hands. Song Qiming looked at Emo, not knowing where his curved sword appeared from. But immediately, he reacted and said in a shaky voice, You are Emo? That's right. You're very smart. You know you owe me. It's just that I've been busy lately and only had time for this today. Emo's voice was very cold. Song Qiming was the leader of a family. Although he was very worried, he soon forced himself to calm down. "Young Master Yi, the thing between our family and you is a complete misunderstanding. Although it's a misunderstanding, I've completely dispersed the Song family to show my apology to you. If you can let the Song family go once, I'm willing to swear that from today on, our Song family will just be a dog of yours." "What a big misunderstanding," Emo sneered. "I'm not someone who exterminates. I've let your Song family go on more than one occasion, but you challenged my bottom line. You dare to harm even Qingxue and Beiwei. You even made my sister harm me. I'll let you die with a clear mind. But don't worry, those vermin breed of you Song family, I won't leave one behind if I see one." Song Qiming's face had the look of extreme desperation for life and said desperately, "That had nothing to do with our Song family. It was all Dong Fangxi's plan. Our Song family never." Before he finished, he could no longer say anything anymore. Emo had shattered Song Qiming's aorta with his fist. Even as he died, he still had the look of trying to explain something. Emo didn't use a sword to kill him. The sword was just to scare him. There were no marks on both the inside and outside of Song Qiming's body. Even though Emo did this, many people would still guess he killed Song Qiming, but Emo was still going to do this. Sometimes, even though everyone knew, he still needed to put up a show. If Song Qiming was killed by him blatantly, this thing couldn't be suppressed. After all, Song Qiming was an influential person. He threw Song Qiming next to the woman. Emo killed Song Yuani and Song Qishan next. There were only these three important people in this mansion. Although there were still some maids and gardeners, Emo never wanted to kill everyone. He didn't even kill the guards. As for Song Yuani and Song Qishan, Emo just burnt them to ash. He only left Song Qiming's body. Although he didn't kill all of the Song family's direct descendants, Emo still felt a lot better. He had been constantly hunted by the Song family, and now he finally killed a few leaders of the family. Then Emo headed towards where Tang Jing was. He wanted to tell her that he would bring her to Beiwei. However, what Emo didn't expect was that Tang Jing actually suicided. He felt a little sad. Tang Jing was a tragic woman and didn't even achieve some small aspirations in the end. He wished she would meet a good person next life. Emo silently burned Tang Jing's body and used a jade box to hold her ashes. He would give it to Beiwei next time. After leaving the Song family, Emo didn't go find Yiling. If he did now, it would be blatantly telling everyone that he killed the people at the Song family. The second day, news got out that Song Qiming and his niece's wife were naked on the bed together, and Song Qiming died of overexcitement. Then, the first-in-command Song Yuani disappeared. The Song family fell into a deeper abyss after dispersing. The Song family of the 5 big families of China was like the sun of dusk, slowly falling down. At this moment, Emo had left Beijing. He went on the train towards Xian Mountain. His destination was Sharp Sea Corner, the place Chao Gang and them found the blood coral. It was on his way, so he also wanted to see how Fong Nan was doing. He had agreed to help him but was delayed by all sorts of things. He also needed Fong Nan to help him with something this time. Because Emo didn't buy a ticket and just jumped on, the first thing he wanted to do was find a seat. However, because Beijing was the first station and there weren't many people going to Xian Mountain, there were still some free spaces on the train. Emo found a seat as soon as he got on. "Brother, are you going to Jingkou?" Emo just got on and the middle-aged man opposite him greeted and passed a cigarette. Emo pushed the cigarette back and smiled. "I'm going to Xian Mountain, but I don't smoke. I saw that you didn't bring a bag and I thought you were going to the closest station, Jingkou. Xian Mountain isn't close. Even with this express train, it would take a whole day." This man was very meticulous. Emo noticed this man's hand had a lot of calluses and his muscles were very tight. Could be seen that he practiced martial arts. Although his inner chi cultivation didn't have a level yet or never even cultivated it systematically, normal people wouldn't be a match for him. "It's good not to smoke. I'm an old smoker. Brother, are you going to Xian Mountain to get rich?" This man packed the cigarettes away. Although this man just introduced himself suddenly, Emo didn't dislike him. Perhaps it was due to his look. Although he was very skinny, his eyes had spirit and didn't seem dodgy. Emo hated those with dodgy glances. He didn't like those type of people. They were either really calculative or weak and timid people. "No, I just want to go to Guilin. Xian Mountain is just a passing-by place." Emo didn't hide his destination. "Guilin." The middle-aged man frowned. Then, another 2 people came. It was a young woman in her mid-20s and another youth with shades. It seemed the 2 were together. They both carried big bags. The young man had some looks and dressed very simply. Her clothes were modest. This youth seemed scholarly and weak. The young woman smiled at Emo and said to that youth, "Xiao Gong, you can sit on the opposite side." Then the young woman sat beside Emo. The man continued, "Brother, Guilin isn't a peaceful place. Why are you going there?" Emo smiled but didn't reply. The young woman sitting beside him had a faint smell of blood. Emo had experienced countless killings, so as soon as this young woman sat down, he felt it. And this young woman had a little worried look. It meant that she killed before getting on the train. If she just injured someone, she wouldn't have this bloody smell, but perhaps it was her first time, so she felt scared. But no matter how much this woman killed, it was irrelevant to him. He smiled and looked at the middle-aged man. I have a friend whose business isn't going too well. I'm going to help him. Emo was talking about Fong Nan. He did indeed want to go help Fong Nan. Fong Nan was a good person and he also wanted to create his own power faction. Fong Nan was a good choice. Your friend is doing business at the border? I heard that those people who can do business at the border aren't simple people. They've all seen blood and big scenes. They pretty much all killed before. Only then can they strike fear in others. This middle-aged man said with a strange expression. Emo looked deeply at the man and immediately knew that he wasn't simple. He talked about blood purposely. Who would talk about this the first time they met a friend? This was too absurd and didn't even suit the topic of the conversation. However, Emo knew that this man could also tell what the woman did. He said this all just to comfort the woman. As for why he was doing this and how he knew, Emo didn't know. Emo smiled. He didn't express his opinion and just didn't talk anymore. However, the young woman beside Emo shook and gradually calmed down. This man just said a sentence to test. Although he didn't know what was with the woman, but he could tell something was wrong. However, he was more testing Emo. Now that he saw that Emo just smiled to his words and not say anything, he immediately knew Emo was no ordinary person. I'm called Xianxia. I'm planning to go have a look at Xian Mountain. Brother, what business does your brother do? Haha. If it's suitable, I also want to find something to do. Xianxia's words were obvious. He was asking if there was an opportunity for cooperation. Hearing his words, Emo had an idea. This guy had a meticulous heart and was observational. Now that he asked this question, Emo knew that he was someone bold, and then considering how he comforted the woman, it meant that he was a decent person at last. Thinking about this, Emo nodded. I'm Emo. My friend is called Fong Nan. He's about to do big business. If Zong brother wish to cooperate, it's fine. We are in need of people. Just when Emo finished and before Xianxia could reply, a few police officers who looked serious reached out to Emo. That youth and the woman saw the police come over and immediately became pale. They even started shivering. Yuan Meixiang, Yuan Gong, you two really know how to run he? But now, someone suspects that you two are involved in a murder case at Jingkou, Fanghe Town. You must go back for investigation. The head police seemed weak and fat, but his tone was very serious. That young woman calmed down instead and looked around before saying, You don't need to do anything. I will go with you guys, but I know that as long as I go, I will have no hopes of coming back out again, so I will tell what happened to everyone here. I will let everyone know what is hiding in this world. Take her away. Yuan Meixiang, if you have anything to say, tell your lawyer. The police didn't wait for this young woman to finish and yelled, Haha! My lawyer, as long as I fall into your hands, I would be devoured whole. That Yuan Meixiang girl started laughing out loud, but her face was getting more and more miserable. The two policemen behind the fat police had already came up. They grabbed her hands and was going to cuff her. Let her go. Let her speak. What can't other people hear? Xianxia suddenly stood up and pointed at the few policemen and said. The fat police narrowed his eyes and looked at Xianxia coldly and said, What? You are going to help the culprit resist arrest? Xianxia smacked down on the tea table. Resist arrest? Just you stop thinking so highly of yourself. You're only a small traffic police. What right do you have to call me helping others to resist arrest? I've seen all sorts of big scenes. You just said she was a suspect and now, she just suddenly became the culprit. White really becomes black in your mouth. Good job, good job. Sister, just tell us your situation. There are so many people here. I want to see who wouldn't let you speak. As soon as Xianxia spoke, there was chit-chat in the carriage. Obviously, there were a lot of people who thought Xianxia was right. They should give Yuan Meixiang a chance to speak. Who do you think you are, teaching a traffic police what to do? Don't you believe that I can take you away as well? The policeman behind the fat police said impatiently. Xianxia laughed and took out a certificate and a few honor badges. Who am I? I'm a solider. When I was spilling blood for the country, where were you? Am I not even allowed to speak? The fat police scanned and saw that military certificate. It seemed like a veteran certificate, but not really, and there was a second-level honor and a third level. There were so much honor rewards, and the fat police was also shocked, but he was smart and didn't take these rewards to look at. Because if he didn't look at them, then he could say that he didn't know. Yuan Meixiang saw that these few policemen didn't say anything and didn't continue to cuff her. She knew that this was her opportunity and immediately cried and said, 3 years ago, I just graduated from the University of Finance. When I passed by Jingkou, Fangnan town, I was being taken into custody illegally by Dousan and was forced to marry him. During the time, if I didn't do one thing that he wanted me to do, he would beat me viciously. Then Yuan Meixiang flipped up her clothes, showing all the marks on her body and hands. They were shocking. Completely disregard of law. Zhang Jian smashed down on the table furiously. Even the passengers in the carriage saw her and felt sympathetic for her. Yuan Meixiang wiped her eyes and continued, half a year later, I found the opportunity to escape and went to the police department at Fanghe town, but not only was I not sent away but was instead beat up again and brought back by Dousan. Then, I had a child, but it was sold by Dousan and I wanted to run away again, but this time, Dousan guarded me closely and tortured me even more. But this wasn't it. The animal didn't have money and actually wanted me to sleep with his friends and wanted me to sell my body to get money for him. I wouldn't comply no matter what. Later, my brother Yuan Gong found me. He looked for me for 3 years, and the first thing he did when he found me was go to the police, but I stopped her. Even so, this was found by Dousan, this animal. He got people to tie my brother up. I begged him to release my brother. This weak-looking youth rubbed his eyes and held Yuan Meixiang, who was about to fall. Yuan Meixiang sniffed. Dousan agreed to my request, but just when I was celebrating, a friend of his couldn't help anymore and told me Dousang's real plans. This animal was planning to sell my brother's kidney. That night, while Dousan was drunk, I stole his keys and let my brother out. But just when we were about to escape, we were found by Dou Senator. I fought with him and accidentally cut his neck. This thing has nothing to do with my brother. I know that if I went in, I would have no return, but I beg you to let my brother go. He is innocent. Animal. Zhang Jian was furious. Is there no law anymore? Dousan, this animal deserved his death. If it was me, I would have killed him 100 times. Why can't you come out after you go in? You bunch of policemen. The country I fought for with my blood is going to be polluted by you like that. The few policemen frowned. They wanted to capture this woman away, but they feared public outrage. Just when the few policemen didn't know what to do, the train had arrived at the new station while Yuan Meixiang said miserably, because Dousan's brother is the captain of the Fanghe Police Department. I heard that the previous captain was a righteous man and was harmed by Dousan. So if I go in, I'd be dead for sure. It was I who killed Dou Senator. It has nothing to do with my brother. I just want you guys to let my brother go. Okay, you finished. Now there will be someone to take you away. Whatever your situation is, you can tell it at the police department. The fat police looked hesitantly at Zhang Jian before saying to Yuan Meixiang. Zhang Jian was full of anger. He knew that he couldn't stop the fate of them being taken into the police station, but his personality compelled him to stop this. Killing my brother. How dare you? You evil bitch, you actually ran this far. Another 2 policemen rushed into the carriage. The one walking at the front had triangular eyes. As soon as he came in, he saw the 2 and had violent gazes from his eye. Obviously, in his eyes, the 2 were already dead. Dou Lin. Yuan Meixiang saw the triangular-eyed man and finally couldn't stop shaking her body. Emo patted Zhang Jian, who was about to talk. When that Dou Lin attacks me, and when he gives his verdict, help me record things. Zhang Jian dazed. Although he didn't know what Emo meant, he still took out his phone and nodded. Old F.A., how come you still haven't cuffed her? Han Dan. Take these 2 murders away. Dou Lin looked coldly at the brother and sister. You are Dou Sen's brother Dou Lin? Your brother raped a woman and abused her and also sold organs. I think you helped out quite a lot, didn't you? Scum. Emo walked out and stopped the triangular-eyed man, saying coldly. He only needed to look at Yuan Meixiang's expression and tone, and he would know that she didn't lie. She even avoided using extreme words. Originally, Dou Lin was going to tell Emo to piss off, but when he heard the word scum, He could no longer control his anger, and kicked towards Emo. Emo sneered, and kicked first onto Do Lin's Achilles tendon before patting his forehead. Then, he continued to ask, "Tell me everything. All the bad things you did being a police and who you harmed. Who would say the bad things they did?" Just when everyone thought Emo was dumb, Do Lin's eyes became dazed, and hearing Emo's words, he murmured, "I killed Captain Ba because he knew that I raped Dushi's daughter, and he wanted to arrest me. I provide all the girls at the Jinko brothels. They are all girls from outside who come here to work. I have made a deal with T-Boss that it's 50-50 profit." Everything Do Lin said was bloody and gruesome. There were so many people in the carriage, but they all felt shivery. There was actually such an inhuman trash in this world. Emo looked back at Zhongjian and asked, "Did you record everything?" "Yes, I didn't expect these two brothers to be such bastards. They are worse than animals. I really want to kill him right now." Zhongjian stared at Do Lin, who knelt down. His eyes were pouring with flames. Emo smiled and pulled out a gun from somewhere and fired at Do Lin's forehead. He actually killed Do Lin in front of all these people. Silence. The entire carriage sunk into silence. Even if Do Lin could be sentenced to death 10,000 times, he couldn't be killed here. And this person carried a gun with him. "You have a gun?" After a moment, the fat policeman stared at Emo and asked while taking a few steps back. Obviously, he was worried Emo would attack him. Emo looked at Han Dan, who came with Do Lin, and said coldly, "I originally planned to kill you as well, but you still have some uses. If you can't provide me with important sources, I will still kill you." Although Han Dan had a gun, he was shaking and subconsciously nodded. Emo then turned around and said to the fat police, "Indeed, I have a gun and I killed him. Show me document to the captain of this train." Then Emo took out his blue booklet and dumped it to the fat policeman.